There we go. Hello, everyone. People outside, members outside, if you can please come inside. Hi, everyone online. I just want to make sure you guys can hear me. Can you guys wave? I see Matt Green and, okay, good. Thank you. We're recording, right, Jesse? We can go. We have quorum. Okay. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Manhattan Community Board 4's March 2026 full board meeting. I am Leslie Boghosian Murphy, Chair of CB4, and I want to thank everyone for joining us this evening, both in person and online. And I want to thank Hudson River Park Trust for hosting us this evening. Before we begin, I want to just start with a few reminders that you probably have all heard every single month. Hybrid policy, the MCB4's hybrid meeting policy is posted on our website. Board members are expected to attend meetings in person unless they have a disability or an extraordinary circumstance. Committee members with excused absences and members of the public may still participate virtually. Board members joining via Zoom must keep their cameras on when voting and preferably on when speaking as well. Tonight's meeting is being streamed live on our YouTube channel, and a transcript will be recorded and archived there for public access. Sign-ups for the public hearings and the public session were available in advance, and a paper sign-up is available in the front there with Paul Devlin. Raise your hand, Paul. There he is, if you want to sign up. While we encourage advanced sign-up, you may still sign up tonight, and all comments for both the public hearing and also public comment are limited to 2 minutes. So now that we have the ground rules down, we do have a presentation tonight. I just want to make sure if the new commanding officer of the 10th Precinct, Timothy Wong, is on. You do or do not see him? Do not. I don't know if he was. So we are expecting a presentation by the 10th Precinct and their new commanding officer, Timothy Wong. Okay, so why don't we move to the public, just to move it along? Why don't we move to the public hearing? So the public hearing tonight, we are taking comments on the mayor's preliminary budget for the fiscal year 2027. And with that, I want to call up our budget task force chair, Rachel Lee. And Rachel's not here. We are off to a rousing start. All right. I can run this. I can run. I have to remember how to run the, yeah. All right. So we have one person signed up. Raven Solomon. I don't know if this person, Jesse, is in the room or online. Not in the room, obviously, right? Raven? No? Okay. Not online. Yeah. As Jesse said, going once, going twice. Here ends the public hearing. I'll tell Rachel it went fabulously. Okay, but now we will go into the public session. If you are on Zoom and wish to speak, please raise your hand so we can bring you over, especially if you signed up online. Jesse will bring you over to speak, but I'm going to bring up Josephine. And Josephine will handle the public session.
How are you? Good. Hello, good evening, everyone. So I think we're going to start with who's in the room first. We have, I'm going to call 3 names, so if you can just come up here and line up when I call your name. Trudy Rudnick, Jacqueline Lara, and Samantha Ortiz. You will have 2 minutes. Hi, how are you? There you go.
Well, I brought my placard with me because what would an organizer be without a placard? It says ice out of our park. So my name is Trudy Rudnick. I am one of the organizers of Chelsea Neighbors United. You hopefully have heard of us. I'm a member of the organizing committee, as is right there, and Inga right there. We formed in mid-November as a neighborhood affiliate of Hands Off New York City to prepare for ICE. Since we formed, over 600 residents have signed on as members of Chelsea Neighbors United, 400 of whom have participated in our activities. That's pretty incredible. I think many of you have too. You look familiar. Aside from street visibility, we've canvassed 250 Chelsea businesses with Know Your Rights information. We have probably a couple hundred more to go. We had special training for community members who hire health aides, domestic workers, and caregivers. We had a town hall with 190 people. And now we're involved in the fight to get ice out of Pier 40 now. I want to thank Community Board 4 for the recent letter you sent asking our electeds to continue to fight to end the contract with ICE. But more importantly, I know, and I don't know who's really sitting in this room right now, but I know that some people here are either on the advisory council of the Hudson River Park Trust or on the board. And we wanted you to know that we sent 3,200 letters to the Park Trust Board. We got no response from them. We sent a letter to those we knew who were on the advisory council. We got no response from them. We had a rally with 150 people at Chelsea Piers. We got no response from the board or the advisory council. We want to know really that you guys are fighting to end this insult to our community. I do want to point out that we could tell by the weather almost that spring is almost here. And it's a time when hundreds, if not thousands, of community members, I'm wrapping up, parents and children are in that park above Pier 40. Many of those children have parents who are immigrants or they themselves are immigrants. This puts them at risk. I just want to end by saying that this is our community. These are our neighbors. The rumor going around is that the trust doesn't want to spend the money it would take to hire a lawyer to end the contract. And we say that it's time to get out now. We're putting our neighbors at risk, and we hope that everybody here stands with us to do that. Thank you. Anybody want to sign?
Hi, my name is Jackie Lara. I'm for Fulton Houses. I am really disgusted with this situation with the developer. My lobby door has been broken for a month, and I put in multiple tickets, and other residents in our building have put in multiple tickets, and they keep closing those tickets. Our building hasn't been cleaned. Like maybe they do it once a week now, so I'm sure that's NYCHA telling the porter not to clean our building, so it's been more filthier than ever. And there's just a lot of sabotaging going on, and we know it's sabotaging. And when you go to the office to make a complaint, now they're redirecting you to HOU. I'm still a NYCHA resident, and I will be a NYCHA resident. I will refuse to go to HOU for anything. And I'm gonna keep on with this fight. This developer, if he really cared about us, we wouldn't be living in such disgusting, situations. So, yeah, that's what I have to say today.
Thank you so much for that. We're gonna interrupt this session for just, one more. Okay, go ahead.
Hi, my name is Samantha Ortiz, and I reside at Fulton Houses, Building 10. And I'm here to complain because the mailboxes in my building have been broken for over a month. And they're telling us we have to wait a month and a half more to get a piece to fix everyone's mailbox. Also, I'm against the demolition. No demolition, save Section 9.
Thank you.
We are just going to pause. Thanks, Josephine. Josephine will be back up here in a moment. We are going to pause our public session because the new commanding officer of the 10th Precinct, Timothy Wong, is here. Come on up. And thank you for coming in person. Yeah.
How's it going, everybody? Just want to introduce myself. My name is Captain Timothy Wong. I'm the new commanding officer of the 10th Precinct. I have 18 years on the job. Before this, I was in the 6th Precinct and the 1st Precinct as executive officer. I've been a captain for over 2 years, and I just want to, to say hello, and hopefully I get to meet everybody. Now, I'm just gonna say a little bit our crime statistics. In the 10th precinct, we're actually the second best in the whole city in crime reduction. This week, we're down almost 80%. For the 28 day, which is the past 30 days, we were down almost 40%. And for the year, we're down 28.1%. So I just want to thank everyone in the community that has really been a help to us in order to combat crime. Now, I just want everyone to be aware the major issue going on right now is package thefts. You know, when you order something from Amazon or something online, they deliver it to your building. But the thing that they do is they hit random rooms and they try to get buzzed in. And once they get buzzed in, they'll see a bunch of packages and they'll steal it. And this has been going on for the past 3 months now. So if you guys just, you know, if you hear a buzzing, you know, to your apartment that you don't know who it is, please don't let them in because we don't want any of your items to be taken. With that, I'll open it up to any questions.
I'm sure there are questions for the commanding officer, no?
Oh, this is fantastic. This is, you know, what I strive to be since I was younger. So, you know, it's finally nice to have my own precinct. So thank you. Oh, perfect. Well, thank you. It's a pleasure to meet you. Yes.
Hold on.
Oh, sorry.
Hello. Something I've always been curious to know is how many average officers do you have on a tour?
So it depends. Like actually working the 10th precinct, because we have a lot of details in Manhattan South. You know, a lot of protests has been going on. So on average, we'd probably have 15 people per tour out answering jobs. But we also have a conditions team and our quality of life team. So that adds another 8 cops. But, you know, every day we send people out to details, you know, the ICE protests, the Palestinian protests. So it's anywhere really between, I'd say 15 to 30 people at a time.
And is that fully staffed or are you guys looking for more or?
I mean, we're always looking for cops, you know, the more the merrier. You know, the more cops we have, the more likely, you know, we're able to catch people committing crimes. You know, I want to cover every single block if possible with cops so everyone feels safe. But unfortunately, that's not the reality.
Can I ask one more question?
Absolutely.
Foot patrols. I really like foot patrols. I like seeing cops walking the beat. Is that something you guys are going to do more of or you're into or?
I would like that as well. Unfortunately, in our department, only foot patrol is for specific areas with high crime. So in Manhattan South, it's really only Times Square.
Thank you.
Yep.
We have a member, Katie Savage. Katie, can you get oh, you have one microphone.
Hello? Okay. Hi, Katie Savage, live in Hell's Kitchen. Are you in close communication with the commanding officers of Midtown South and Midtown North? All 3 of those precincts kind of intersect at 43rd Street and 9th Avenue. And it's frequently been an issue of, you know, who's in charge of what in that area.
Yeah, so 43rd and 9th is, you know, the 10th precinct and Midtown South. But yes, Inspector Trubig is also great. He's the commanding officer of the Midtown South precinct. He has a lot of experience and, you know, I'm actually really good friends with him. So if you ever need anything, just please let me know.
And then the north side of 43rd Street is Midtown North. There's 3 precincts that intersect.
43rd Street. 45th is Midtown North.
On the east side of 9th, it's
Okay.
45th. On the west side of 9th, it's 43rd.
Got it. Well, all right.
Bound
News to
to be
me.
silly.
Yeah.
Got it.
Yeah.
So I would definitely suggest, you know, making sure you have a good working relationship with the Midtown North as well, because there is a lot of stuff that happens there, and it's right at the corner of Manhattan Plaza, which has thousands of residents.
Inspector Clamp is also great. She's the Midtown North commanding officer, so I do have a relationship with her as well. Yep.
Oh, JD, go ahead.
Is it on now? Yes. Inspector, 2 things. First of all, thank you and your officers for defending our right to assemble and protest. You do a great job and continue to do that. Secondly, I live in the Midtown North Precinct area, and we have made it very clear to our new commander that we're an immigrant community and that we very much support Commissioner Tisch's statement that NYPD will not cooperate with ICE unless it's a criminal investigation. That's terribly important to us because we are an immigrant community and we want our immigrants, new and old, to trust NYPD. So it's important that you make clear to your officers that cooperation with ICE in a non-criminal manner is not acceptable to this community or to the commissioner. And I'm sure you know that. So thank you.
My pleasure. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Mariah Akers. I live in Chelsea, and welcome. Congrats on your new position.
Thank you.
Those were some really impressive statistics in crime reduction that you mentioned, and I was wondering two things. Part A, what do you credit with this kind of intense reduction? And B, what kinds of crimes have you seen the biggest reduction in? So I know you said like porch pirates are one of the biggest problems. Is that the kind of crime that you're seeing in the neighborhood?
So I have a great team in the 10th precinct. You know, my sergeants are great. The cops are, you know, very motivated, which is, you know, very important. You know, my belief is really to bring the precinct morale because, you know, if the cops are happy in the precinct, they're going to treat the community very well. You know, if they're miserable coming to the precinct, I don't think they're really going to treat the community that all great because they don't like their job. So first and foremost, I like to build up morale so the cops are happy, you know, and I have great cops who are very motivated. And like I said, my bosses are great. You know, my community affairs also great. Thank you, Jarrett. The second part is the greatest reduction. So that would be actually burglaries. Burglaries are actually the greatest reduction. You know, the last thing we need is people breaking into residential apartments or even our stores because, you know, if they break into our stores, then steal all the property. Guess what? You're not going to have a CVS, a 24-hour, 7-Eleven, anything like that. So, you know, burglaries are down 41%, which is fantastic in the 10th precinct. So I give credit to not only my cops, but the community as well, because they've been a great help to us.
Thank you very much. I do want to remind everyone that not just here, but online, that NYPD is the only agency that has open public meetings every month. So if you are interested in any of this or you want to ask more, you want to plug your community council meeting, when is it for your precinct? Everyone knows already. The last Wednesday of every month, 7 p.m. In person and online or just in person? Hybrid and So if you go to the, I'll say it in the mic, if you go to the 10th Precinct Facebook page, the meeting dates and the times and where it is will be posted. Great. Bye. Thank you. Thank you so much. Josephine, you want to reignite the public session? Yes, thanks.
Okay, I will call the next three names. We have Kevin Collins, Michelle Spinner, and Matt Robinson. You have 2 minutes, Kevin.
Starting when? Just a shout out to Trudy and Chelsea Neighbors United. The work that's so important to get done, and they're in the hands-off Hell's Kitchen and holding ICE responsible and educating the business owners. So thank you. I'm here to give a public service announcement to help ensure the upcoming HOPE, Homeless Outreach Population Estimate Survey of New Yorkers, those who are experiencing unsheltered homelessness, making that a success. The weather caused the rescheduling not once but twice, and so volunteer numbers are at 50% of what they usually are, so we need help. And the importance of the HOPE program is it's required for federal funding. Local participation is the only way to produce national level information about changes in homelessness. It provides an important piece of information about the issue in New York City, and it improves public trust through a strong, transparent process. Basically, we meet around 10 o'clock at night. It goes to maybe 2, 3 in the morning. We count the number of homeless outside. Those survey results help shape city policy and city funding. So I encourage you to go to nyc.gov/hope, nyc.gov/hope to sign up. The new date, I didn't say that. That's a key thing, right? So Tuesday, March 10th. I'm doing the Times Square Hotel on West 43rd Street. I think Leslie is. PS 42 on 210 West 61st Street. Leslie and Rachel. I'm also going to probably doing with some of Joe's interns. So I encourage you to go there, sign up, meet with us. When we're done, let's go out to one of those 24-hour diners in New York City and talk about what we saw in the evening. So thank you, everybody, again. Remember, Tuesday, March 10th, please go to nyc.gov/hope. Thanks, everybody. And within 2 minutes.
Thank you. Thank you. My name is Michelle Spinner. I am Vice President of the London Terrace Tenants Association, representing 1,000 apartments. I am speaking on behalf of the LTTA when I reiterate our staunch opposition to NYCHA's FEC demolition proposal, adding to our already long list of objections our deep concerns about the soil contamination findings contained in the remedial investigation and brownfield cleanup program materials. Because the current plan involves demolition and deep excavation, the BCP documented soil contamination could be disturbed and spread through dust and vapor during construction, putting all of us, the NYCHA residents, neighboring residents, school children, and workers at risk. The community deserves a clear explanation of what was found, what standards apply, and what protections will be required and enforced. The parents of students attending PS 33, a sensitive receptor directly adjacent to the excavation site, have repeatedly asked NYCHA and Related to present their findings and their strategies for mitigation. So far, NYCHA and Related have refused to speak to the community on this subject. We urge CB4, who has been in possession of this information and neither took action nor brought it to the community's attention, to immediately act on behalf of the community to demand the following: a strict community air monitoring plan and dust vapor controls with clear enforceable action levels, public-facing reporting so residents understand where monitoring locations are, what is measured, what action thresholds will be enforced, and what happens if levels are exceeded. Strong enforceable requirements for vapor testing and mitigation to protect indoor air quality, and a centralized, easy-to-navigate public web page with a plain language summary of the findings with required controls and who to contact in the event of concerns. That being said, we urge the board to double down on its no demolition position. The best solution to ensure public safety is to keep the contaminated soil buried deep in the ground. Preventing disturbance at the source should be a primary public health strategy for a project with documented contamination findings and sensitive receptors nearby. Thank you.
Thank you. Now we have Matt Robinson.
Hi, my name's Matt Robinson. I want to talk about a couple things. One, I want to talk about the sidewalk, the restaurant sheds or corrals, whatever you want to call them. We wrote a letter, or we signed a letter against having it be 12 months a year. And we're seeing that it's to deaf ears, or it seems like it's to deaf ears. And many of us signed it, and I think it's important that we acknowledged for saying that we do not want round the year sheds. In addition to it, we just had 2 major snowstorms, and that could be the new norm. And we've got to think in terms of those things, and in terms of snow removal and just everyone coming in. Also, the new norm right now is Amazon on every other corner needing an area for them to do their own distribution of goods, our goods. So I'm against it, and I'm concerned that we may be ignored, and I don't like that. Also, in terms of the soil contamination, that's going to be done in phases. It's not one phase, two phase. It's going to be probably 19 to 25 phases over the course of 20 years. And so everyone should realize that that mitigation has to be coordinated very, very carefully, and that you can't do it all at the same time because you're not demoing at the same time. You're not doing construction at the same time. So that's very important as well. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you for that. The next, so not, okay. James Boyd, Pamela Wolf, and Tom Luke. Sorry. Lunky, sorry.
Hi, James Boyd from Chelsea and Hell's Kitchen. At its January 22nd board meeting, the trust, quote, acknowledged that news about ICE's parking contracts with the trust had caused fear and anger for many people. Quote, the trust, of course, recognizes that some federal policies have created fear and distress for many in the community. Some federal policies like murder, kidnapping, shooting, gassing, beating, arrest, shipment to concentration camps, or deportation. Quote, the Hudson River Park is a place for everyone, welcoming, safe, and accessible. Accessible should not mean selling parking to police state domestic terrorists like ICE. Or on January 3rd, welcoming heavily armed DEA kidnappers at the Trust's very important person heliport in the park to dump an abducted foreign head of state for incarceration in our town. The Trust has not said that they will not renew the Pier 40 ICE parking contract in June. The Trust has said it does not intend to. Never believe the Trust's intentions. Insist that they stop assisting ICE right now. Instead of pleading with the Trust to end their ICE parking contract now, Mayor Mamdani and the Borough President Hoylman Siegel, who appoint the majority of Trust board members, perhaps could order them to immediately cease collaboration with ICE at Pier 40 and with oligarchs at its toxic West 30th Street heliport. Don't expect the end of ICE parking in June. We've been gassed in the park for 26 years, waiting for the Trust to obey the VIP heliport closure mandated by the New York Supreme Court settlement number 11658107.
Thank you.
Pamela? Hi. Oops. There goes the hearing aid. Don't let me forget it. Okay. Well, hi. A little moment there. I'm Pamela Wolf. Full exposure. I am a public member of CB4. I am not speaking tonight on behalf of that position or anything else. I'm speaking on my own behalf. And this is all about sidewalk sheds and stuff. Aside from the fact that I am simply just fundamentally opposed to giving up public space for private profit, think NYCHA. Here are my objections to the 12-month permits for roadbed structures. Rats, more rats. For starters, if the structures are permanently sitting in the gutter, how can they possibly be kept clean under their floors? Don't we all remember the buildup of debris on the uphill sides of the sheds, blocking the flow of rainwater, creating disgusting swamps? At least the 9-month rules assured that the cleanup of the nesting sites would happen once a year. Allowing the sidewalk cafes to spread in front of their non-restaurant neighbors makes little sense. Coffee tables in front of the locksmith, the hardware store, the shoe store, really? Reducing the distance required between the barriers and the curb, again, really? We already have situations where 2 strollers or 2 shopping carts or 2 rollators or wheelchairs can't pass one another. but have to stagger their passage along the sidewalk. Not to mention that there is subway grading where many of us feel very uncomfortable walking over. The COVID nightmare is past. Let's not embed its legacy on our streets and on our sidewalks. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay.
you. Can I just, so I can read it? Okay. Thank you. I'm Tom Lunke, and I sent this letter to the community board, so you have it if you want to see it in full. But I'm going to try and briefly summarize what I'm saying here. So as we transition to a new administration, it is vital that our communications reflect the full scale and potential impact of the proposed Fulton Elliott Chelsea project on our historic Chelsea community. To ensure Mayor Mamdani and his team fully grasp the stakes involved, I respectfully request that you incorporate the following points into the opening paragraphs of your letter, item 25 in your agenda. Expansion of housing. While the project is framed as an expansion of housing, Chelsea has absorbed 10,000 new private housing units, more than any other community, over the past 2 decades. Long-term privatization of public assets. The plan would lease 14 acres of publicly owned land and buildings to private for-profit enterprises for 99 years, effectively removing public oversight of these essential community assets for nearly a century. Mass displacement of residents. The project involves the demolition of 22 to 24 taxpayer-financed buildings. This would result in the loss of over 2,000 existing homes and the displacement of nearly 5,000 residents, destabilizing a long-standing diverse community. Absence of guaranteed housing security. Because the existing structures would be entirely removed, there is no physical right of return for current residents. Access to new privately managed buildings would be subject to the standards of private owners, offering no equivalent protection currently afforded NYCHA residents. Environmental damage. Demolition and construction would cause significant environmental damage within and beyond the 6 central Chelsea blocks that contain the 2 NYCHA campuses, impacting the health and quality of life of our surrounding community. I'll wrap up. Loss of vital green space. The proposal would eliminate 2 urban forests containing 370 mature trees, expediting climate change and diminishing our air quality. And then rights infringement. There are deeply concerning reports of residents being pressured to sign away their Section 9 federally protected housing rights. We are grateful for the legal efforts supported by leaders like Tom Duane that have secured temporary stays on these actions. By highlighting these on-the-ground realities at the beginning of your correspondence, you will provide the mayor's office with necessary context to evaluate this plan through the lens of equity and community preservation. Thank you for your dedication to protecting the residents and character of Chelsea.
Thank you. Thank you.
Managed to get it all on.
Yes, you sure did. Okay. Beryl Sutton, Susan Marshall, and Jeffrey LaFrancois. So, yes, you're first.
Hi, my name is Beryl Satter. I am a 30-year resident of Chelsea and part of Chelsea Neighbors United. And I'm not going to take long, just to reiterate that we need ice out of Hudson River Park. And they've been asked, we know some people here, want them to end that contract. Some people here are with Hudson River Park, and I don't know how they're thinking. But I don't know. I assume it must be a matter of money because it cannot be a matter of morality. Why you will not get them out now. We've heard these are untrained, aggressive, dangerous, predatory, militarized force, and they have no place in a park in Chelsea, which has a diverse community. I don't know how much money is involved with ending the contract right now, which is what we want. But however much that is, you can't sell your soul for that. And you can't sell out this community for that amount of money, no matter what it is. So please answer us. Please listen to us. And please end that contract right now and get them out now. Thank you.
Thank you. Susan.
Thank you, Josephine. Susan Palmer Marshall, President of the Council of Chelsea Block Associations, also known as CCBA. I'm speaking tonight regarding outdoor dining and the BLP letter to be ratified tonight. I'd like to encourage this community board to stand its ground and listen to its constituents concerning the length of time for outdoor dining. CCBA, along with the Hell's Kitchen Neighborhood Coalition, represent close to 40 block associations and thousands of residents who don't want year-round outdoor dining. I spent a good part of the day today listening to the playback of yesterday's Transportation and Infrastructure hearing of the New York City Council, where DOT was present and many, many residents testified. Council members came and went, as did DOT. It's a shame they did not stay to hear the testimonies. What is crystal clear is that the number one issue was enforcement, or shall I say lack of it. The administration is suggesting a one-size-fits-all approach, and it doesn't work. Accessibility for the disabled has not been thought through. No directional enforcement of e-bikes, noise, trash, rats, snow, emergency services access, wait staff working for more people and less pay. Too many burdens to extend beyond seasonal. Let's keep it light, folks. Let's do like the Europeans, tables, chairs, umbrellas during the warm winter months. No sheds. They're ugly anyway. Thank you.
Good evening, everybody. I'm Jeffrey LaFrancois, former chair of CB4 and member for 10 years. And prior to that, I was a staffer to elected officials who served as a CB4 liaison for 6 years, so a long tenure with the board. I'm speaking out today because of the deeply alarming situation that occurred at the February Executive Committee meeting. For the first time in my direct connection with CB4, the Executive Committee voted to override the full board. This is a stunning repudiation of this body's deliberative, collaborative, and process-driven work. You are likely to hear from members this evening that this new position reflects the community's interest and that the board supports small businesses. But I implore you to consider the rushed action that was taken to respond to the City Council's hearing on outdoor dining in an effort to change the position that was adopted last year. I'm also a resident of Hell's Kitchen. We often hear that block associations are reflective of our community, which the letter cites, but I have not heard from my block association, nor am I aware of them having done any outreach to restaurants directly to ascertain their interests and whether or not the changes to outdoor dining and the board's previously stated interest in focusing more in the curb lane is helpful or harmful. And finally, 3 hats this evening, I'm executive director of the Meatpacking District. And as a business improvement district, we've seen firsthand how the removal of curbside dining structures diminished the streetscape environment, has made it more dangerous for pedestrians, and universally undermines businesses. What we know based on the facts is that the current seasonal outdoor dining program does not work because of the outrageous costs associated with setup, breakdown, and storage. I hope you will reject this ratification and recognize the dangerous precedent this action would set. And I also firmly believe that this city is capable of creating a thriving and clean year-round outdoor dining program, and that this community, long known for a great dining scene and support of businesses, should be proud to support it. Thank you.
Thank you, Jeffrey. Okay, next we have Layla Law-Ginslow, Lisa Wager, and Lydia Andre. Oops, hold on 1 second.
Thank you. Good evening, everyone. My name is Leila Logizico. I am the district leader representing Chelsea. I would like to speak about 2 issues. The first one that is on the agenda, and it is the soil contamination of the NYCHA developments at Fulton and Elliott Chelsea. Just to reiterate that when contamination is present, residents must be fully informed and protected. Any redevelopment proposed must include a detailed and transparent mitigation plan, comprehensive soil testing, clear disclosure of results, strict dust control measures, continuous monitoring during construction, and safe remediation protocols to prevent exposure to residents, and particularly children and seniors who are most vulnerable. However, the most protective environmental strategy is often to simply avoid unnecessary disturbance of contaminated soil, and therefore avoiding demolition altogether and excavation is the best mitigation. I also want to touch on another issue that is connected. The federal housing policy promulgated by HUD is actually shifting in ways that could destabilize the very households living in these developments. HUD has proposed a rule that would allow housing authorities to impose work requirements of up to 40 hours per week and time limits of no less than 2 years on housing assistance for student adults receiving rental subsidies. If adopted, these policies could apply to both traditional public housing, Section 9, as well as housing choice voucher programs known as Section 8, including project-based Section 8, and that would include Manhattan Plaza, as well as the NYCHA FEC sites if they were privatized. That would potentially affect millions of residents throughout the country and hundreds of thousands in New York City. We see a terrifying trend of dismantling the subsidized housing, and privatization and erosion of tenants' rights must really be curtailed. Thank you.
Lisa.
Hello, I'm Lisa Wager, Director of Government Community Relations at the Fashion Institute of Technology, the East Union College on West 27th Street between 7th and 8th Avenues, with the Residence Hall on 31st Street with 1,000 students west of 9th. It's in the district. I'm here with an FIT update. Art by Fashion, a comprehensive exploration of the symbiotic relationship between the world of fashion and fine art, opened last month at the museum at FIT. Is fashion art? The history of fashion's entangled relationship with the world of fine art has many points of convergence, from art as fashion inspiration to fashion's presentation in art spaces to artists utilizing garment forms. A sweeping survey of that relationship from the 18th century to today, Art by Fashion presents 140 garments, accessories, textiles, photographs, and artworks that trace the sustained exchange between the two disciplines through thematic case studies and vignettes that trace parallels across movements Rococo, Art Deco, Surrealism, Pop, and Postmodernism. In this exhibition, a 1950s Charles James corset, designed for a cabaret dancer, brims with art historical references that range from Dali's eyes to the Mona Lisa, and a video installation explores garmenting, a contemporary art practice incorporating clothing and accessories into fine arts. I hope you'll come see this free exhibition at the museum at FIT, which is open to the public 5 days a week and always free. FIT's Senior Learner Program is supported by the college and provides deeply discounted classes for chronologically mature adults, 60 years of age and older, who are also New York State residents. Participants can choose from among a number of courses, most of them once a week for 4 weeks, specifically developed for this program, and enroll for $35 plus a $10 registration fee. The courses include fashion history, social media marketing, the basics of pattern making, intro to metal jewelry design, watercolor painting, intro to weaving for home decor, introduction to miniatures, that's new this semester, and watercolor painting, to name a few. Registration closes March 24th and classes start April 6th, and they say spring is coming.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Okay. Lydia.
Thank you. Hi, Lydia Andre, Chelsea Neighbors Coalition. I'm not going to go into details about the FEC soil issue because people here have already done a much better job. Thank you, Michelle. But I want to say that I'm here in support of item number 20, the letter on your agenda tonight, because once again, I have to say that this is another canary in the coal mine about whether we are really going to get accountability on this project, the accountability that I know this board has worked very hard for and that we should demand and expect from our elected officials. I want to note that on the third page, first paragraph of this letter, we discover that NYCHA and Related Essence have refused to come to a public presentation of the draft RIWP dealing with the FEC soil situation. I ask CB4 once again to prevail on our elected officials and demand that these presentations be made available to not just the FEC tenants, but to the public and the adjoining neighborhoods. What does it take to get the accountability that we were promised, the accountability that is the whole purpose of the FEIS process. It isn't right, and it's outrageous, and it is setting the stage for what we can expect for the next 20 years with this project. I implore you to approve this letter and to continue to demand this accountability. As Layla said, as Michelle said, the true accountability would be to acknowledge the fact that the demolition is not right, it is not just, it is not what the tenants want, and it is not what the community wants. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Next on the list, we have Rachel Lee, Hector Vasquez, and Jasenko. You all want to come up? Oh, you need the, okay. You need all the, thank you.
Hi, good evening, everyone. Rachel Lee, speaking in my individual capacity. I would like to first thank many of the speakers tonight who addressed the issue of immigration, especially on the Hudson River Park Trust matter. And I'm proud to be a part of a community board that has been consistent in speaking on this issue early on. And I again wanted to highlight the letter that we drafted on February 24th with respect to the Hudson River Park Trust contract ending immediately. As part of our ongoing efforts to protect our communities from immigration raids, I'm happy to report that our neighborhood coalition is growing. So if you haven't joined but would like to be a part of Chelsea Neighbors United, I see you, Hands Off Hell's Kitchen. As of today, we officially have an Instagram page. It's exciting. I love the enthusiasm. Hell's Kitchen Downtown West. Please come up to me at the end. I'm happy to connect you with the groups. And we have another Know Your Rights training on Monday, March 16th, 6 p.m. in person at a location in our neighborhood. So whether you're a U.S. citizen, immigrant, person of color, white, this is an issue that affects everybody. And it also helps to be prepared for everyone around us. So the session will still have components for even those who have attended Know Your Rights training in the past. So if you're familiar with it, but would like to know a little bit more about activism, how we can support our neighbors, neighbor walks and things like that, please come be a part of it. I also have what you already know, red cards. Maria, thank you for reminding me to bring some of these. So if you want extra copies of it, I always have these on me. So please come up to me at the end as well. Thank you. For those of you online, since you can't scan the QR code, I imagine, please email me at rachelleecb@gmail.com. rachelleecb@gmail.com. Thank you.
I am Jesenko Vukadinovic, and I'm the president of the Chelsea West 200 Block Association. The Block Association stretches from 7th to 8th Avenue and from 19th Street to 22nd Street in Chelsea. I'm here to speak in opposition to the proposed bill to allow roadway cafes to operate year-round, to allow grocery stores to operate sidewalk cafes, and to allow roadway cafes to extend beyond their street frontage. Our opposition stems from our experience with the administration of the outdoor dining program within our association. Enforcement has been lax, and many restaurants flaunt the rules with impunity. The current enforcement regime seems to be complaint-driven, requiring the public to report violations through 311. Our experience has been that 311 reporting has not resulted in any kind of enforcement. Even reaching out to our electeds has not led to enforcement either. We are left to believe that DOT does not have the bandwidth or the interest in implementing this program. We contend that the current outdoor dining program should not be expanded or modified until there is a commitment on the part of the council and new administration to ensure that enforcement is strengthened and the program requirements adhered to. Without this, an expanded or modified program will only result in more non-compliance. This is especially true if roadway cafes were to be permitted to operate year-round. We're optimistic that with proper enforcement, the outdoor dining program will be successful with positive outcomes for restaurants, restaurant goers, and local residents. So that is my testimony. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Hector.
Evening, everybody. My name is Hector Vasquez. I am a member of CB4, but I'm speaking as a resident and a father. Tonight I'm speaking as a former resident of Elliott Chelsea for many years, and I served on the Tennis Association board as well for that. And I serve on the Tennis Association for Fulton Houses, which I am now living at right now for many years. First thing I wanted the board to understand, and everybody else, is that the majority of the residents do support this redevelopment plan. I know that because I lived there. I lived on both campuses for decades, and I've served as a leader on both communities. I have the experience. I speak with residents every day. What most people want is simple, safer, modern homes after years of living with failing heat, broken elevators, mold, leaks, and aging infrastructure. Another issue being raised is ground contamination. That concern has been greatly exaggerated. The majority of New York City has ground contamination. We have projects on 10th Avenue right now. That's been a vacant lot for a while, and that's been disturbed, and that's right next to the development itself. And now there are plans for condos to be built there as well. Also, London Terrace had Penn South had a building just built over there on 26th and 10th Avenue. 8th Avenue. And that displaced a lot of minority businesses, unfortunately, for market rate apartments. The majority of them are. So you'll hear a lot of rumors. I deal in facts. I don't deal in what other people say. I double check my information instead of having other people try to speak for me. That's why I'm up here today as a father and a community leader. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Hector. Okay, so that's it for in the room, but we do have some speakers online. So I'll start with the list that I have here, Jesse. Okay. All right, first we have Bianca Doman. Bianca, are you there? Can you hear us?
I am. Hi, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay,
2
great.
minutes starts now. Thank you.
Yes. Good evening, everyone. My name is Bianca Doman, and I'm a resident of West Chelsea. I've been a resident for 16 years and a mother of 2 young children. I'm here to express opposition to the proposed cannabis dispensary at 525 West 23rd Street. First, I would like to note that during the Cannabis Task Force meeting on February 19th, members of the community raised concerns with the representative of the proposed dispensary owners that no required public notice had been posted. To date, no notification has appeared at the site. I've documented this by taking photographs regularly since that meeting, including today. While I recognize that cannabis retail is legal under New York State law, this specific location is deeply inappropriate given its immediate surroundings. The proposed site is located within close proximity to Avenues, the World School, Chelsea Waterside Park, which hosts youth programming and is a location for Avenues School PE, Chelsea Piers, which hosts youth sports programs year-round, Guardian Angel Roman Catholic Church, Clement Clark Moore Park, a very popular children's playground, Basis Independent Upper School, and the Highline Park, which offers year-round children and family programming and is less than 100 feet from the location of the proposed cannabis dispensary. This corridor is heavily used by families, children, and youth sports participants on a daily basis. Hundreds of students and young children pass through this area before and after school, and both parks are primary neighborhood gathering spaces. I respectfully request that CB4 carefully review whether the location complies with all New York State Cannabis Control Board distance requirements, particularly the 500-foot buffer from school grounds and public youth facilities. 2, the cumulative impact of placing a dispensary within a high-density youth corridor. And 3, quality of life concerns, including pedestrian congestion, traffic, and loitering in an already heavily trafficked area. West Chelsea is one of the most family-dense areas in CB4, and this stretch functions as a community hub for youth programming and recreation. I respectfully urge Community Board 4 to deny the application at this location. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Okay, The next we have Carol Candiano.
Hi, good evening. Thank you for having me. My name is Carol Candiano, and I am a resident over 20 years of West Chelsea. I sit on the board at 555 West 23rd Street, where Bianca just referenced. I also sit on the 500 West Block Association, and I'm asking the same request about the cannabis dispensary at 525 West 23rd Street. The task force last week, we were all on the meeting, and the task force had agreed to deny their license. And I'm asking the community board to uphold that decision. In addition to what Bianca said, there has been no posting. I've reached out to my building in a matter of 2 days. I've gotten over 50 signatures electronically that have said, we do not want this in our neighborhood. In addition to that, that was not brought up last meeting, is that we live on a very heavily traveled street. It's a wide two-way street. It has access both to the Lincoln Tunnel and as well as the West Side Highway. Those are major thoroughfares. It's a wide street that U-turns can be made on. Cannabis dispensaries are cash-driven businesses, and they are definitely ripe for soft targets for theft. And this would be something that has happened before. It happened 2 years ago in the meatpacking district when they had a theft at the Gucci store, and they used the 10th Avenue with the Lincoln Tunnel to get away. So I'm asking, we are in close proximity with the Chelsea Piers, with all the schools. They run day camps, they run preschool. I see children all the time with their gear going up and down. They take the West 23rd Street bus. And I'm pleased asking you to hold up. I know as a community board that it's really important that you hear the concerns of the neighborhood, and we don't want this here. So I respectfully ask that you do what the neighborhood requests and you hold up the decision. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, next we have Lowell Kern.
How many times do you get two former board chairs showing up as
Isn't
members
that
of the public?
amazing? This is fantastic. Go for it.
I'm also here to talk about letter 17, the cannabis dispensary at 525 West 23rd. I was going to warn you that at the task force hearing, there was a huge turnout from the public, and you're going to get it again tonight, but you've started already to hear it. The letter is great. The task force was not unanimous, but was overwhelmingly siding with the community on this. And moreover, as the letter points out, the applicant had never come to talk to anyone in the neighborhood. As far as we know, he never set foot in the neighborhood because he was here. It was represented by someone at the task force meeting. But since then, after we told and after the representative heard that we were all upset that we were never spoken to, that no one ever came to talk to us and ask us about this, there has still been no outreach from the applicant to anyone in the community, not to the buildings, not to the West 500 Block Association, has not happened at all. So we're just asking that you ratify the letter 17 from the task force. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Lowell. Okay, next we have Charlie Todd.
Hey, everybody. Charlie Todd. I am a public member of the Transportation Committee. I'm just speaking in my capacity as a resident today. I wanted to say that I think that WPE wrote an excellent letter regarding the scaffolding collapse at Ramon Aponte Playground. As a parent at PS 212 next door, I want to stress how important this playground is to our school community. It's packed every afternoon with our kids, and it's critical that this situation gets fixed as soon as possible. I walked by today at 3 o'clock after school, and I saw no one working at the site. And I really hope that developer is working as swiftly as possible to make the site safe so we can open the playground back up. It's going to be 74 degrees next week, and it breaks my heart to see it closed and these kids having nowhere to go next to their school. Secondly, I would like to express my support of year-round outdoor dining. It was really sad to see how few restaurants took part in the program this past year. And I think having to put away the dining structures and rebuild from scratch every year is a poison pill that killed the program. I don't think the council meant to kill the program, but they killed the program. Yes, we need enforcement against dining sheds that are not well maintained. Enforcement is a problem with so much of our city and our streetscape, and we need it, and we need to stress that. But I really miss the days of 9th Avenue coming alive at night with the energy of outdoor dining. Thank you all.
Thank you. Okay, next we have Christine Gorman.
Hi, my name is Christine Gorman. I'm a longtime resident of Hell's Kitchen, a member of the Hell's Kitchen Neighborhood Coalition, and president of the West 55th Street Block Association. I love outdoor dining. When I can afford it, I love to, and when it's warm, I love to go out and eat. But I'm not in favor of year-round sidewalk sheds. People have talked about the reasons. Snow and ice is a problem, the rats. It's also, no one has mentioned how a number of the sheds over the winter get inhabited by people. And often, particularly in our area, there are areas of drug use that have become a real problem with some of these sheds. So I am in favor of CB4's letter saying that there wasn't enough transparency. I am against year-round sidewalk sheds. And as somebody who also loves Paris, my mother was French. I don't really understand why we can't all come together. There's a way to accommodate both businesses, small businesses, and the community with the tables and the chairs that can easily be moved in and out. Who's going to be outside in February? Not me. Thank you very much.
Hi, I'm just going to run through the folks who signed up just as when we started the meeting. So next to speak is Michael Harachi. You have 2 minutes.
Assalamu alaikum, Ramadan Mubarak, everybody. World War III has begun, and I'm just curious as to where the community and the community board stands. Where do our fingerprints lie? We are bombing one of the most ancient cities in the world and slaughtering countless innocent people. There's not even the illusion of a constitutional process here. Yet because we're doing it for Israel, none of that matters, and everyone in Congress is silent. I urge the community board to come up with the emergency response plan and preparation, as we all understand Israel's tactics now will be a false flag operation incoming, probably worse than 9/11. We're going to need year-round dining, outdoor dining to eat all the rich, including the NYPD budget. Panama, Paradise, Pandora Papers all describe where the wealthy hide their tax dollars, tax-free dollars. This is in 2 islands, Manhattan and the United Kingdom. The NYPD was complicit in hiding the Epstein files, and I urge the community board to partner with the Southern District of New York to have all of those files released to the public. We need to know where our fingerprints lie as a community board, as we produce 2 of the most violent, deadly, satanic criminals of the 21st century. American imperialism and colonialism, insatiable appetite for death and destruction will meet its end, and in our lifetime. Netanyahu is the worst president in American history. Everyone in this room is complicit, and let's be aware.
Michael, you need to wrap it up.
Sure. Let's be wary of social democrats like Zoran Mandani, for he's a wolf in sheep's clothing. Thank you.
All right, Sean Dunn.
Hello, can you hear me? Can you hear me? Okay, so you can hear me.
Sean, can you go?
Yeah, I just want to make sure you can hear me. So my name's Sean. I'm the owner of the Red Stash on 52nd.
Sean, hold on. You're going to have to speak, get closer to your microphone because we could barely hear you.
Oh, okay. So my name's Sean. I'm the owner of the Red Stash on 52nd Street for Hell's Kitchen. I'm speaking tonight on behalf of the strong support of year-round dining. We're a small 30-person restaurant, and we really don't have the funds or the endless resources to essentially redo the outdoor dining every single year. It costs us around $15,000 every single time, and it is just a complete waste of resources. And that reoccurring cost could be put to better use to help for my own staff, and then just keep the general upkeep of the restaurant. It took us about, even though reoccurring costs for this long-term program to secure the 4-year permit, keeping the roadway dining year-round would remove repeated expenses, reduce waste, and generate general revenue through the winter months, especially when it's our slowest time of the year. This is more of a convenience, or less about a convenience and more about survival and stability over the neighborhood being a small business. So I would say I'm for support of year-round dining and would hope for your consideration. Thank you.
Thank you, Sean. Miriam Fisher. She's right there.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, we can, Miriam. Go ahead.
I had hoped to speak while the police captain was still present. Is he still there?
No, he is not. He is not.
I'm going to share this with the community and try to get in touch with him. The meetings that I have wanted to attend, I live across the street from PS 11. There were sheds there for 3 years. They're gone now. Somebody died in one of the local basements on 8th Avenue. There were issues that I wanted to be involved with, but the meetings were not hybrid. I was there are very many kinds of disabilities, and I was not able to attend for 2 years. I kept asking for hybrid meetings. I had a letter from Eric Botcher, supporting this, that it excludes people who cannot attend when they were in person only. By chance, I did go once, and I got sick. I came down, contracted COVID, as was diagnosed after the meeting that I went to, and I'm requesting that hybrid be part of the scenario at the police department meetings for the public so everybody can attend. And it's been a concern of mine now for a couple of years. Recently, they were virtual, but the talk is again to go to in person. Everybody can be accommodated with hybrid meetings, and the NYPD at the 10th precinct has not had hybrid meetings, despite a request from me and from Eric Botcher. Thank you for listening.
Thank you, Miriam. Elka Fears.
Hi there. Can you hear me? So I'm talking about year-round roadway and sidewalk cafes. I'm the president of the West 47th 48th Streets Block Association, and we oppose Intro 655 that will extend sidewalk and roadway cafes beyond their own frontage. We also oppose giving up public space for private gain, and therefore oppose extending outdoor dining to 12 months. We feel community board input is essential and oppose reducing the role of community boards in the licensing process. One size does not fit all. Some communities have nice wide sidewalks. Hell's Kitchen does not. The proposed legislation would certainly be a detriment to pedestrian use and safety. Thank you.
Thank you, Elka. And last is, oh, no. You are, hold on one second. Gloria, are you on? Sorry. Gloria, I thought I brought you over before. Sorry, I misunderstood when you sent me the note. Okay, there we go. Gloria is the last one to speak at the public session. Gloria, your 2 minutes starts whenever you start to speak. She has to unmute herself. All right, there we
Hi,
go.
I'm Frank Lowe. I'm speaking on behalf of myself on 2 issues. One of them is outdoor dining. I think it should be limited to 8 or 9 months. and it should be based on the legal seating capacity of the space, and that capacity is regulated by the fire department, and outdoor dining facilities for those 8 or 9 months should be limited to the 5 or 10%, and the city could gain some revenue for the beautification of our neighborhoods and streetscapes. That would make sense. If sheds are, rather platforms are allowed, they should be designed in such a manner to accommodate pest control, pest management. And also, we have to remember that the underside of these things cannot be washed in the wintertime because there are city ordinances from November 1st to March 31 about the use of water for washing gutters, sidewalks, etc. So that takes care of my comments on outdoor dining. My other comment I would like to make is that the city should be not partnering with Related. Related should be partnering with the city, and the city should always be in control. Related, I do not believe to be a reliable partner. Last summer, they sold a 50% interest in Hudson Yards of a building for $550 million. That tells me that if they are such a powerful company, they would not have made that sale. The other thing is that building contained 106 condos, and it took 6 years for the sell through. They are now almost all sold out, but this was a 6-year process, and they should
We
not
have
be
about 10
allowed
seconds.
to build high-end apartments on the Chelsea, Elliott, and Fulton Houses campus with that kind of performance. And they should not be allowed or permitted
Thank you very
to
much.
sell their interest to the highest bidder. If they can't hold on, the city or the state should take it back.
Thank you very much. Thank you. And that concludes our public session. And we really want to thank everyone for taking the time, either virtually or in person, to come and speak and share and take that moment. So now for the board, the agenda. You all have a copy of the agenda, right? Can I get a motion to adopt? All in favor? Any opposed? Abstentions? Thank you. Minutes. Can we get a motion to adopt the minutes? Thank you. All in favor? Any opposed? Thank you, everybody. We now would like to invite our elected officials. I know we have one online. I believe Borough President Holloman Siegel is online. Oh, I see you there. Yes, go ahead.
Thank you. Thank you, Leslie, and good to see everyone. Happy Women's History Month. Happy Lunar New Year. Ramadan Mubarak to all of those who are observing. I'm hoping that Lent is going well for those members of the community who are observing that too. I wanted you to know that we're reviewing Mayor Mondani's preliminary budget. We're going to be releasing our response soon. We had nearly 300 attendees at an exhibit at the Studio Museum in Harlem in honor of Black History Month. I want to thank everyone who came out for that. If you haven't seen the new Studio Museum space, it's really worth a visit. We had an enormous turnout for an ICE training and preparedness workshop that I hosted in collaboration with Assemblymember Lasher. Our state senator was in attendance, Eric Botcher, along with City Council member Sean Abreu. Over 500 people who wanted to learn more about ICE, what they can do to step up to protect our neighbors. And with that in mind, I just wanted to mention the abduction of a student at Columbia University that occurred last week. I was on the scene shortly thereafter, and we've demanded a couple of things. One, the NYPD should release all body cam footage, and Columbia University should share its security footage to the press and the public. Something does not make sense in this abduction. The ICE representative seems to have conned his way into the Columbia housing facility, and then he or she brandished a flyer purported to represent a missing 5-year-old girl. It's crazy that they would go to such lengths to deceive the security and the young woman, Ellie, who was eventually arrested by ICE. So we really need to know answers, and that's why we've asked for that information to be released as soon as possible. I think everyone knows that ICE has 30 odd parking spots at Pier 40. We've been in discussions with the Hudson River Park Trust about that. I'm of the mindset that they should just break the damn contract. The Hudson River Park Trust are obviously balancing city and state interests as they report both to the mayor's office and the governor's office, in effect. So more on that later. But I am happy that they have conceded the fact that they won't be renewing the contract when it expires in June. So we want to thank them for their transparency with what they're confronting in terms of that contract. And then finally, my inaugural celebration of Borough Convention was canceled due to the last snowstorm we have. It's going to be rescheduled for Saturday, March 14th at 5 p.m. at Alice Tully Hall. And then finally, actually two more finallys. Community board applications are due this Friday, March 6th by 5 p.m. Please continue to share with your networks. Reapply if you need to do so. And then I was very unhappy that a number of major New York City hospitals have discontinued gender-affirming care for patients under 19. Thankfully, our New York State Attorney General is enforcing our law that I actually passed called the Gender Expression Non-Discrimination Act with your former Assemblymember Dick Godfried. So we hope to get some resolution there. And then thank you to your land use team for meeting with my land use team and me about the ULURP at 629 West 54th Street, known as the DeWitt Clinton Park North project. So really had a good exchange of ideas. So I wanted to thank everyone in connection with that. That's my report, Leslie.
Thank you, Mr. Borough President. I did see from Assemblymember Tony Simone's office, Ben online. But no, we're going to go with Mac. Oh, okay. Okay. Mac, you want to come up? From Congressman Nadler's office.
Good evening, everyone. Just two quick updates. This past weekend, as you all know, the Trump administration launched an illegal war against Iran without congressional authorization and against the will of the American people. Congressman Nadler has demanded that Congress use every tool at its disposal to stop these hostilities, including bringing a war powers resolution to the floor, which he will vote yes, and urges his colleagues to do the same. And Congressman Nadler will continue to fight to hold the Trump administration accountable and bring this legal war to an end. With that in mind, if you know of anyone who has been stranded in another country due to the war, please encourage them to enroll in the STEP program through the Department of State to receive updates. Also submit a crisis intake form if they are a U.S. citizen stuck in Israel, Qatar, UAE, or Saudi Arabia. This form allows people to request assisted departure and can be found on the irrelevant embassy's website. And last but not least, to contact our office. And then one more piece of news, Congressman Nadler is proud to announce that he secured $12 million for 10 community projects in the House passed funding bill. 3 of which reside in Community Board 4. The following projects include $850,000 to construct a new ADA accessible entrance at West 16th Street for ADA accessibility to the High Line. Another was $1.2 million to replace an outdated elevators at the Harbor View Terrace NYCHA complex. And the last one was $850,000 to rehabilitate restroom facilities across Hudson River Park and improve cleanliness, safety, accessibility for all visitors. That's all I have. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Mackie. I think we do have Ben. Now, Ben, can you hear me?
Yes,
Oh,
I can.
go ahead, Ben.
Hello, everybody. Assemblymember Simone recently introduced the Host Act, which would allow municipalities to create designated zones where bars and restaurants could serve alcohol outdoors just between June and July this year. The World Cup will be hosted during this time, and this would be a great way to help local businesses create some fun ways for people to get together to watch the games. Assemblymember Simone was proud to raise the pride flag at Stonewall after Donald Trump ordered it to be removed last month. The LGBTQ community has faced relentless attacks under this federal administration. Following the events at Stonewall, NYU Langone and Mount Sinai announced they would be cutting crucial gender-affirming care programs for trans youth. Assemblymember Simone is committed to fighting for this critical health care, including by passing his bill A6927, which would hide the names of prescribers on prescription labels for hormones. This bill would help prevent potential attacks and targeting from the Trump administration against the healthcare providers who continue to provide medical care and support for transgender youth. We will be hosting another egg hunt this year. Last year's was a great success. We had over 100 kids, and we plan to have many more this year. This will be at Chelsea Green Park on March 28th, and you can RSVP at bit.ly/Tony Egg Hunt. Thank you.
Thank you, Ben. Are there, Carrie? Hi, well, it's board members. Sorry, Jesse.
Hi.
Carrie, do you have a question for?
I have a question for Ben.
Yes, go ahead.
And I had a question for Brad, but it's the same question, so perfect. My question is this, and I really appreciate you both taking the question and the comments you made about NYU and Mount Sinai ending gender-affirming care for anyone under 19 years old. I wonder if you are putting any pressure on the mayor, who stated during his campaign that he would be setting aside pretty significant funds to make sure that if this happened, there would be other alternatives for these families and kids to get the gender-affirming care that they need. But we have not heard yet a response from him on this topic, besides, saying that it's a terrible thing. I wonder if you could speak to that, or if either office or both offices could please put some pressure on the mayor's office to actually enact, some kind of legislation that puts together a slush fund. I hate to call it a slush fund because that sounds bad, but a fund for kids to get this care from alternate resources.
Yeah.
Ben, I think that's for you, Ben. But just so you know, the borough president is also still online.
Yes.
Okay.
No.
Please.
Yeah, I think that, well, first of all, there is a bill in Albany that Assemblywoman Rosenthal and I think Assemblymember Simone both carry in terms of Medicaid support for requiring Medicaid reimbursement for gender affirming care for individuals under 19. That's an Albany bill. We were assured that any patients who were denied treatment would be referred to physicians who were able to provide gender affirming care treatment for patients under 19. Is that not happening, Carrie?
It is not happening, Brad.
Well, that's hugely disappointing. I'd love to speak to you tonight or tomorrow about what that means for patients and most certainly raise that with the city health department as soon as possible.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Brad, would you stay on for one more question?
Yeah.
I believe another board member, Liam, would love to ask you a question. Liam, am
Yeah,
I right
sure.
in that?
Yeah, hi, thanks so much.
Thank you.
Some background, I joined this board in 2016. I was appointed on my 16th birthday, the first day I could. And as part of that, I really kind of inspired my love in government and working in campaigns and government. And that's what I do now. I work in campaigns and government. And you set a policy at the start of this year that will prohibit me from reapplying to this board because I work in government, a role in which I've had one instance in 2 years in which I had to be present, not eligible on. And I have a number of friends and colleagues across Manhattan who are in the same boat, and they're really great representatives. And so I wanted to know if you would explain that policy, and if you wouldn't mind if there are specific conflicts that were occurring, if you might shed some light.
Well, it's also, first of all, it's two things, Liam. One, it's to give people an opportunity who want to serve the public. You're already serving the public full time, I assume, in your job. Who do you or what do you work for?
I work for Representative Susan Del Bene, who's the DCCC.
Okay. Well, our policy is specific about working for elected officials in Manhattan. So I think you are not, from what I gather, would not be captured by that exclusion. It's meant to assure the public that individuals who are on the board represent their views and their community board's view and their community's views, not an elected official who nothing against my colleagues who sometimes may have a staffer who's also serving on a board, and the confusion is, are they representing their elected official, their boss, their employer, the elected official, or themselves?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. We have one more rep from Nicole. And I want to introduce everyone to Nicole because she is State Senator Eric Bottcher's new liaison for CB4. So you're going to see a lot of Nicole around. She's coming from the South, right? Weren't you down South?
I was, yep, CB2 for 4 years.
You'll like us better. But can I want to call up also, if I can, I want to call up my friend, Jessica. Come on up. Our former board chair, Jessica Chait.
Very nice to meet you. Thank you so much, Leslie. Jessica, you're a hard person to nail down. I understand that Quentin has been trying to, since Eric was the city council member, has been trying to get in touch with you. But I am here on Eric's behalf and our entire office behalf to present to you a proclamation from the New York City Council. Eric Bottcher, council member of the 3rd District, and Gail Brewer, council member for the 6th District, are proud to honor Jessica Chait for extraordinary leadership, her indefatigable spirit of service as chair of Manhattan Community Board 4, and her profound contributions to the New York City nonprofit sector. Whereas community boards were established in 1963 through the New York City Charter to broaden and deepen. This is very long, so maybe I should, yes. And this is for you. Thank you. Be known that we, the undersigned council members, gratefully honor Jessica Chait. You're welcome. Thank you. I'm hoping that
Jessica, you could have said a few words if you, okay.
The Can't believe I almost said council member. The senator is hopefully going to be jumping on to say hello, but I just wanted to introduce myself. I know several people here through participatory budgeting and through the other projects and in our neighborhood. And I'm just thrilled to be working with CB4 and just look forward to talking with everybody separately. So thank you.
Thank you, Nicole. And now we will go to the district manager's report.
Hi, everyone. I'm Jesse Bodine, District Manager, Community Board 4. No, stop. Listen, this is not going to get your emails answered faster, just to be clear. So we're following up fantastic well-deserved praise for Jessica with great news for us. We moved into our new offices on Monday. For those of you who don't know, we have been remote for the last 5 months. And then before that, we were in a temporary situation for like about 3 years, being evicted out of our long-term lease on 42nd Street there in the middle of COVID. So we are at 630 9th Avenue, which is the Film Center building, if anybody knows it. At one of the few landmarked buildings with an interior landmark in the Hell's Kitchen area. It's a beautiful lobby. I would recommend it. We seem to love beautiful lobbies. Our last major space was a beautiful lobby, and this one is too. So it's Suite 208. We're there. Offices are there from 9 to 5. Normal hours. So we'll begin holding our committee meetings there. And so that will be exciting. The first ones we'll be having is arts, culture, education, and schools, which we're very excited to kick it off there. So running into that, so I just want to mention there's some slight variations with the March committee schedule with that. So HHS, which is Housing, Health, and Human Services, is meeting tomorrow. That will meet still at 30th Street, just because we had a put notice out last week, and I still didn't know if we were going to move in on Monday, so I did not want to risk that. And then the Business License and Permitting Committee will meet at 30th Street too, because BLP, we required the applicants to post notice on their properties weeks in advance, and so at that time we also did not know what time we were moving in. So those two committees are meeting at their regular times, just at 353 West 30th Street. All other committees we plan to meet this month will be meeting at their regular times and dates at our new location at 630 9th Avenue. That's it. So the one other thing I just want to mention, and I brought this up at exec, and I know we have a clock here at this space, which is we have to be out by 9:30, but I want to bring this up. So last month, we had 3 committees that did not have quorum. And so, I want us to highlight and remind members that it is your responsibility to serve on 2 committees and be there in person. Quorum is what triggers us to hold a public meeting, come to order, do business, vote, send something to full board. And so the open meetings law has been amended, as we all know, which allows us to do a lot of the hybrid videos that we're doing, the hybrid meetings that we're doing. And it does give exceptions to members that have extraordinary circumstances. But I want to be very clear, extraordinary circumstances does not count towards quorum. So I want you guys to think about that when you're going to pull that trigger. And you want to say, oh, well, can we still meet? I'm gonna need to do this. I understand that we can meet, but we still need to have quorum. So I'm not trying to put anybody in an awkward situation, but I do want people to be thoughtful about when they do pull that trigger to use in extraordinary circumstances. I'm happy to spend a little time right now if people have questions, because I understand it is complicated. It is not easy to understand. So the other exception to that, where before I take the first question from Maria, is that quorum is everybody that's in person in the room, and anybody that identifies as having a disability. So if you identify as having disability and you filled out the remote participation form, which is on our website, and it's also at the bottom of every one of my emails, you can attend the meeting virtually and you'd count as quorum. So I'm throwing that caveat in. Maria, You need a mic, or I'm going to repeat the question. Yeah. Yeah.
And what is quorum?
Quorum, that's a great point. Great point. Yep. Quorum is 50% of the body, the committee, plus one. Okay. So if I have a 10-member committee, I need 6. Okay. So it does matter how large the committee is. Christine, does that answer your question?
Yes,
Yeah,
I
go ahead.
knew the answer.
Yeah. Go ahead, Christine.
It would be helpful to put on the vote sheet to mark the people which are disability for the chairs to know.
We can discuss that as a way of doing that. That would be people choosing to identify themselves. I mean, we can certainly, there's boards that have ways of requiring additional documentation, which we can do that. But in terms of who is identifying themselves as disabled at that point in time, we would have to think about.
But then how do I know as a chair whether we have the quorum or not? Because the people which are online could be a mix of disability and, extraordinary. And therefore, I don't have.
I would say again, we can discuss this further,
okay.
exact, but I would say the quick answer to that would be asking, and again, it's their choice to identify that, but to say, does anybody here, anybody on this online identify themselves that way? That's, I mean, again, they can choose not to, and that's absolutely their choice. Let me just check. Let me skip my board members. Yeah. Rachel?
Thank you. Wondering, I appreciate that the law has evolved, but is there maybe a value in reevaluating the requirements for quorum? Because I think extenuating circumstances, in my opinion, is board members who, despite the extenuating circumstances, did show up to the meetings, right? And they should be counted towards the vote. Wondering that. I'm not pushing us one way or another.
Well, again,
but
that's a state. And I know Brad, who's, if Brad is still on, I don't know if he is. When he was a state senator, he had actually introduced legislation that did allow that trigger to happen. I don't know the status of it. And so, but again, that would be a state rule. That would be an amendment to the open meetings law. It would not be anything that we as a body could say, we are going to choose to change what quorum is.
But we could inquire about that, right?
Yeah,
and I just want to note that last month, a lot of us were sick.
No, I'm not trying to throw shade on anybody. What I'm just trying to for people to understand is that's why we have so many new business letters at the end of this agenda, and that, a lot of work goes into prepping these committees, as I'm sure maybe people know, right? Getting those presentations ready. There's briefings that happen beforehand. There's, we ask these applicants to change their application because it's going to be better this way, that way, and to end up not having an ability to come to order and make an amendment and make a motion due to one or two people, it is difficult. So that's all I am reminding folks on. Yeah, Aaron.
I just wanted to clarify that people who have extraordinary circumstances that are online don't count toward quorum, but can still vote. Is that correct?
Yes, if we have quorum. Yes, they can. They can still vote. That's the law. You have an extraordinary circumstance. We have quorum. We're running a meeting. You are participating like anybody else in the room.
Thank you.
Jackie, you got a question? You don't count as quorum, so you don't have to worry about it. You don't. You're all good. Whether you show up or not, we love you anyway. So I'm just. Oh, yes. There's plenty of seating. There's about 20 seats. Carrie. Sorry, Greg.
Yeah, sorry, this could probably be an email, but for those who identify as permanently disabled, do you want to have that form every month? Because my memory is that you needed it one time, but so I just want to make sure some people are doing the right thing.
Again, it is such a neat, not niche is the right word, but a unique few folks that are in that scenario. So I'm happy to readdress that topic and make sure if everybody that is identifying that way and they're comfortable with it, that the folks who are counting committee quorum know that, and so therefore you don't have to worry about whether you filled out the form or not. But yes, in my opinion, you fill it out once if you're identifying as permanent.
Okay, thank you.
Just
Yes, Greg. Sorry.
no.
Can I give it
just-
up for Greg? No, I'm joking.
Give it up. Can I just ask, the board staff knows who has filled out the paperwork? Because I'm asking because you should be the ones to be able to tell us, chairs, whether or not we're at quorum, I would suggest, simply because you don't want us asking people to disclose any of their status, correct?
Yeah, I will say in a perfect world, yes, but many times that they're not always going to be able to review that form. And honestly, the form it needs to be revamped if we're going to use it that like on a committee by committee basis, because it's really just about being able to keep a record of folks as identifying as an extraordinary circumstances. Because I know at some point we're going to get audited for it. And
That's fair.
And we just have to have a record. Yeah.
It's the desire to be protective of people's
your point is taken, because I do think at this point, if we are going to continue on with it, we need to find a way to be able to instantly reference it. All right. Thank you very much, everybody.
Don't close it, don't. We'll be audited the day Jesse leaves, we'll be audited. That's when we'll be audited. Correct. Okay, thank you, Jesse. Now on to the chair report, and I will try and get through this quickly because I know we have a bunch of letters. So our NYCHA FEC working group held their first meeting this week, which laid out expectations and objectives, both short and long term. The immediate matter before the group is the developer's application for a brownfield cleanup, which was mentioned today. Then we had a letter at exec. This is assessing, remediating, and restoring properties for safe levels of use. In this case, they were samples taken to determine the pollutants in the soil. So to be clear, a letter came out of our last exec where there was lengthy and robust discussion on the brownfield application and the information we have and the next steps. And that was open to the public, and the public participated. We requested a presentation through committee from Related in Essence, the project's developer, but they denied our request and offered we submit written questions instead. We asked for the presentation for two reasons. One, to get a better understanding of the process, the timeline, and in some sense, the reality of what we are dealing with in this phase. And second, as an information finding mission to allow us, the board, to offer thoughtful public comment to the DEC, the New York State Department of Environmental Conservation, which accepts such during the period of a brownfield application. I've said that a million times. In lieu of the developer's presentation, we had, which they did not give us, obviously, we had a briefing with DEC to get a better understanding of the process and any insight on this project specifically. And I think the members present on that briefing would agree the DEC was extremely helpful in giving us a window into what we're looking at and some expectations of next steps. And I want to make this clear, the EDC let us know the initial samplings connected to this application is consistent with most all other developments in Manhattan. So, but this is just the very beginning, and we definitely want to be vigilant as the process moves forward and we get more information. It's just the very, very beginning of this process. There's still going to be many, many more steps, and we have to just keep a watchful eye on it. Because of the specific nature of this project and the stakeholders involved, we wanted to stress to the public and also to the DEC the special attention needed and prioritize communication on this process to the greater community, not just to the community board, but to the greater community as well. And as we move forward, we expect we'll be in similar situations with different phases triggering different processes, and we just want to keep on our toes. I think we felt that the DEC will be thorough and continue to have an open line of communication with them on this. And I also want to thank Greg for being a great partner, an awesome partner on this as his being chair of this working group. And Josephine for really spearheading actually the brownfield section of it. Let's get on to the Port Authority Bus Terminal update. Port Authority Bus Terminal held a community meeting recently, which had significant turnout. Christine, you were there, right? Christine Berthet was there representing CB4. The project has started overnight construction, and those two words, as you can imagine, would elicit a lot of public comment. So I think that contributed to the healthy turnout for sure. We recognize the pronounced amount of noise, and our working group will be addressing with the Port Authority reps, and we'll also be connecting with electeds if they hear us to help us address these issues. And we expect this is only the beginning. This was also mentioned in the public session, but we want to update everyone on the collapsed scaffolding in Ramona Ponte Park. Just that we are engaged, board leadership is engaged. Thank you, WPE, for a lot of that, and meeting regularly with the applicant. There will be a letter tonight on this under new business. Our land use leadership met with the Borough President's office on DeWitt Clinton ULURP action, as the Borough President mentioned in his address. And as with Councilmember Brewer, we are satisfied, or we believe we're satisfied that they recognize our requests and on the same page. My last thing is Site K. This is a future thing. Site K, which is across from Javits. It's a state-owned site that, if anyone knows or read through our thick affordable housing plan, it is part of that affordable housing plan as designated for affordable housing and stock and units. So we are in the beginning now of the environmental scope process, and it is the potential for thousands of units of housing. And the reason why I'm stressing this is because there will be discussion on this site at our Clinton Hell's Kitchen Land Use Committee meeting. It is the scoping for the draft EIS environmental impact statement next Wednesday, guys, right, Paul? And right, Wednesday on the 11th. So we really encourage everyone to come because this is going to be a significant, another significant build in our district as well, especially connecting with the housing. It's a state-owned site. Thank you. We are now going to go into the working session. Just a reminder for those who are new attendees, this is where the committee presents their letters and discussion is limited to board members. So with that, why don't we start off as usual with BLP with Frank?
There, thanks. I am going to suggest a friendly amendment to agenda item 6. I'm going to have to talk about it briefly. This is 589 11th Avenue. It's 11th Avenue in the corner of 46th Street. It had been long licensed. For a long time, it was McQuaid's Pub. We had an applicant for the space at BLP that was mostly controversial, but for the first time, they were seeking to use the 6th floor roof and get it licensed. They had completely enclosed it in glass and agreed to keep it closed, but there were still concerns that we weren't sure how soundproof that would be because this location is immediately across from the big Gotham West apartment building, and there's another new apartment building catty corner to it. So at the BLP meeting, the applicant agreed to one of our usual requests, which was to commission an acoustic study to find out how the noise would travel and if it was going to bother any nearby residents. A couple weeks after the meeting, they came back to us and said, the sound study is going to cost us $10,000. We don't have that kind of money. Will you waive that requirement? After some consultation, we decided we would agree to put off the acoustic study so long as the applicant agreed not to have any kind of music on the roof, and also if there were residential complaints in the future, to agree to do the acoustic study at that time. So we're going to waive the acoustic report with those two conditions. The applicant, however, said no to that they couldn't agree to that. So what I'm suggesting as a way of dealing with this is that we recommend to the SLA that we approve the fully indoor license with our usual stipulations, but recommend denial of licensing the roof. And we point out to the SLA that we would have been in favor of licensing with those two further agreements, and we continued to take that position. So Jesse, I'm not sure, can I make a friendly amendment or do I need someone to do that? I'll make that. Okay, all right, thank you. With all of that, okay. So Jesse, I gather when we vote, if people are in favor of this with the friendly amendment, they will just vote yes. Okay, with that, I will take any questions on agenda items 1 through 8.
Need a mic, wait.
Sorry, need a mic. No.
dead. Or it's
On letter 5, it says the restaurant needs to agree to stipulations by 2/24. Did they do that? Because it's already March.
Yeah, yes, they did.
Okay.
Frank, on letter number 1, it's a straight approval with conditions.
Right.
Why do we depart from the traditional deny unless?
Well, where did we do that in the cover
Letter number 1?
Well, again, first of all, those cover letters are only for the board's information, so they don't go anywhere. I thought that was still a deny unless. I think the line break is in a weird place.
I am seeing in the Dropbox an approval with. So.
Okay, I don't know how that happened.
Okay.
Okay, I think I'm going to suggest we drop those letters in the future because they're not part of the official record and they seem to be causing more confusion than they're worth. Oh, one's to the SLA and one's to the DOT. Okay. But I think we'll stop doing the letters. If I'll talk to Jesse and Nellie about that. Anything else? Okay. Okay.
We'll still send them to you, Mark.
Hey everyone, Paul Devlin, co-chair of Hell's Kitchen Land Use with Rachel. 2 items tonight. The first is a little unusual. We're actually sending a thank you letter to the Department of Buildings for honoring a request that we have been submitting for 20 years. So this is just, they did something that we asked for and we're saying thank you. Any questions on that letter? Okay, very good. Moving on. The next issue is a little bit more complicated, so I want to spend just a second describing what's going on. At Western Rail Yards, in the 2009 agreement, there were bonds issued to help support the capital improvement and notably the 7-train extension. Pilots were structured to refinance and support those bonds. When they came back to us for the rezoning application in 2025 for the Western Rail Yards, they told us they couldn't afford to do the platform. And so in the short telling of the story, we said, if you want to find ways to publicly finance those platform construction, capital improvements like that, you can do through bonding. So we supported the notion of bonding for the platform. During the process, in late December 2025, the City Council and the mayor negotiated a different restructuring that the bonds also included the lease payments for the ground, which is not capital, and we are feeling like that's not quite right. They also supported building the school and open space, which was part of the community benefits discussions we had in 2009, that the developer was going to put those in place through their financing. And now we're finding that they're coming to us and saying they're going to put it under the bond financing. Basically, then the letter says to the new mayor, the new speaker, the new borough president, to say, look, these bonds haven't been issued yet, and that system is still going through. Let's have this new team reevaluate what the past mayor and the past speaker negotiated and see if we can do a better job of negotiating to have pilots support bonds for capital improvements, oppose bonds for lease payments for the ground, and if they are going to do school and open space as part of it, let's have some negotiation to increase the number of affordable housing units on the site. So that's essentially what this letter says is mayor, speaker, borough president, go renegotiate these. Let's get IBO to look at this system and make sure we're doing this right. Any questions? Oh, I wanted to thank Maya's last name, who I can never pronounce. Joe, where are you? Feltenhouse. Thank you. Feltenhausen. Maya Feltenhausen at Joe's office did a outstanding, spectacular, stupendous job with this. If you think I explained it to you well, it's because of her. So thank you. Great, thanks.
Hi, I have a question, Paul. Here, Paul.
Oh.
It's okay.
Hey, sorry.
Okay. I guess what's the context of this? Is this because the casinos didn't happen and therefore they're saying this is going to be really expensive, so now the public has to subsidize more of what we said we thought we could do? I just want to know context because that's it.
Yeah, the context, I think the context, that's a good way to look at it, right? When they came to us, they said, we want this casino so we can pay for everything. And we said, no casino on that site. We are going to offer alternatives. And they got those alternatives. They received those alternatives. But in those conversations, we recognized as a board that the financing of building the platform for Western Early Arts was a big expense, and those expenses had grown since 2009. So we had actually offered up some ideas of saying, let's find alternatives to financing the platform so that you can build the housing units that we wanted. And then when the casino left and they added in some commercial space, that was all part of the negotiations. So yeah, when they said they couldn't afford it without the casino, we said, let's find some alternatives. And this was one of the alternatives they pursued. The issue is that then they stepped one step further and are using bonding, which again is for capital purposes, for lease payments. So that's where we're saying let's reassess that. And Joe, you have more to add?
Yeah, so I sat in that meeting where I said, okay, let's help get the public to fund the platform. We never said, help the public fund the commitments you would pay for in 2009, the park, the school, and we certainly never said, oh, by the way, use this money to pay the MTA your leases. That's like basically going to a bank and getting money to pay the mortgage payments you make to the bank, which is super greedy. And that's what they've done here.
Did I hear someone say shocking? Huh, okay. Where's the agenda? Just tell me. Chelsea Land Use. Greg, you're up next.
The introduction was fantastic. Thank you. That was, ladies and gentlemen, Chelsea Land Use. In the grand scheme of Chelsea Land Use meetings, as the chair now for as long as I've been chair, I could not have predicted a meeting like we had the last time. That's related to this last letter. Specifically, if you read it and want to wrap your head around this idea, an applicant related to 549 West 26th Street in the West Chelsea Historic District appeared before the Chelsea Land Use Committee in the past and asked for some ground floor opening changes to their building. In fact, the way it worked was that they wanted, there was a 12-foot opening and two 14s, and we did the applicant thing, and they said, yep. And what we're going to do is they said, we're going to move them all, we're going to move 3 up to 14. All 3 openings will be 14 feet. And that's what we agreed to. At our last meeting, however, this group appeared and said, actually, that's not what we did. We went, instead of bringing up to 14, we brought everything down to 12. And essentially apologized for doing so. Now, while we understood that apology, and there were some construction-related items associated with why that might have been the case, we, Chelsea Land Use Committee, wanted to make sure that it was crystal clear that while we understood what they were saying about corrective measures, what they did deviated from what was agreed upon. As such, coming back to us, we said we're going to deny unless they either restore to the approved condition, meaning they do it the way we agreed that they would do it, or they would clean up the upper facade of the space. Now, the reason I'm saying this is because this is a very strange circumstance, and it may not have been easy to follow if you were not part of the meeting, but this is us denying unless. Thank you.
Excellent.
Any questions? Any questions?
Oh, Ella has a question.
I knew it.
Thank you, Ella.
Yeah, I think it's because I wasn't at the meeting, but I was like, 12 feet versus 14 feet. Like, does it really make a visual difference? And was the reason why they did this, was it a structural thing that they were like,
Shorter
we
answer
need to
is,
do?
yeah,
Okay.
they said, yes, it was a structural reason is what we said. And they said it was a structural reason, but they apologized for doing it the way they did it, because while they were presenting a structural argument, you might argue that it sounded as if perhaps choices were made when the construction was happening that did not follow the expectations. And that may or may not have been intentional.
It's just, I feel like if it's not such a huge deal, are we slowing down projects because we're being like too persnickety about the whole thing? Like, if they have a rationale for it, I'm kind of like, I get it,
Speaking, I
versus-
see
okay.
David Holoca's right behind
Okay,
you with his
okay.
hand up.
All right, David.
Speaking on behalf of the committee, I will acknowledge that taking seriously the expectation that an applicant presents and follows through with the presentation they make was critical. Sorry, David, go ahead.
Right, and if they got away with this and we just said, okay, then any other applicant could build different from what they had gotten permission for. And they don't have to undo it until they want to sell the building, or the owner wants to sell the building. Then the violation would need to be cured. So we're not forcing them to change the height of these openings, but they could cure the violation by stripping the paint off the upper part of the building. And in that case,
that was the denial
would
lesson.
be kind of a plus plus. Things would be easier for them, plus the community would get something out of it.
Thank you, David. Thank you, David. Oh, questions? Ellen, go ahead.
We deny that, like we're denying something they already did, right?
This work has been completed, yes.
So we're denying, I guess, like their right to sell the property without rectifying it.
I don't believe that's what we're saying. It's a deny unless, remember, we're an advisory body, so we're communicating to the Landmarks Commission that we're sort of, and the letter I think says this, acknowledging that you sat before us to say you were going to do something, you chose not to do it. We, from our perspective, either correct it or take advantage of this moment to improve the building space.
So sorry, what are we denying exactly? We're retroactively denying something.
David, I'm going to try to answer for David has his hand raised. Ellen, this is brought to us because LPC is requiring them to come back to LPC. It's not us just saying we don't like this and we caught them. The applicant is being told by LPC that they're going to be going to a LPC commissioner's hearing and having to explain themselves, similar to what they did at the CLUE committee. Part of that process is that LPC then directs them to come to us. So LPC is looking for us to be able to give them a perspective from the community as to whether this, this mistake that they did, what the community feels based on the end result of this project. So it's not. I just want to be clear to you that this is something taken very seriously by the Landmarks Preservation Commission, or they would not have been holding a hearing on. Will be holding a hearing on this and directing them to come to us.
So when we say deny in this case, what we're saying is like approve would be let stand, deny would be do not let stand. I'm confused by the word choice here.
Again, we cannot determine what the commission will eventually say to this applicant. But what we're trying to say is that they need to cure this. And it's not just something to be let out and just said, okay, yeah, tough noogies, we lost this one and continue on with your building the way it is. That they have to come up with a cure and to cure the mistake that they made.
Okay, so I think my sticking point here is that it seems like we've invented a cure with the facade restoration that I don't know where exactly we're getting that, or like what we're referencing when we ask them to restore the facade, and that seems like a slippery slope to me. So I think my friendly amendment would be restoration to the originally approved condition.
not going to accept the friendly amendment in this case based on the conversation that we had during the course of that meeting. The vote was not unanimous, and there were certainly folks who were not in agreement with that particular strategy for some of the reasons that you're suggesting. But in this case, I think reflecting the committee's majority, I'm going to suggest that that's not a friendly amendment.
Only you can make a 2-foot opening in a building exciting like that. It's unbelievable. Christine, transportation. Sanity back.
Hi, everyone. Transportation, 4 items, 12 to 16. Want to mention that on the item 15, I have a friendly amendment from David Warren to add some concerns about the fire department, and we will do that. This is good. And that's it. Any question? Yes.
Yes. So I, first of all, want to thank the community members who brought this matter. So this is the letter that you were just mentioning, Christine, letter number 15
right.
on Mito's halal food truck. So yeah, I appreciate and sympathize with the residents that brought forth the concern about fumes, lighting. That must be really difficult. And I think this letter did a good job of voicing those concerns. I'd like to raise a few procedural points before we vote on this letter. So first of all, regarding the agency outreach that we're hoping to do, the exhibit attached to the letter indicates that Councilmember Gail Brewer already contacted the Department of Sanitation, which conducted, it seems like, a total of 9 inspections on different dates. And those inspections did result in summonses for vending in a meter space, but also confirming that the vendor holds a valid license and permit. So I think we should be mindful of that record and reflect that in the letter if we can. And also, to my knowledge, I believe the truck owner or operator was not notified of or given an opportunity to speak at the committee meeting or tonight's full board. So I know we have a longstanding, tradition of facilitating dialogue and ensuring that all parties have a say. So I just want to make sure that we are upholding that, especially with small businesses or food vendors that may not be able to attend these meetings during prime business hours. So I do have a proposal to maybe, I would love to work with Christine and Jesse on updating the language a bit to making sure that our asks to the relevant agencies, while reflecting the list of concerns by the residents, does make sure that we are not prejudging the outcome. It seems like what we're trying to achieve here is asking them to find out about the violation, the alleged violations here, so that we can be notified and invite maybe Mitos into the conversation. I just want to make sure we are being consistent as a board of, we're good at facilitating and also proposing solutions, right? So just want to be mindful. Also that I just want to note, as a neighbor frequenting this area, this food truck also served a lot of essential workers during the pandemic and continues to do so. For example, recently at Mount Sinai, we had the nurse strikes, right? So it's something that we should take into account, especially if we're trying to reflect the voices of the community as a whole. Thank you.
Okay, so I'm not totally clear about the request and the amendments, but one of them is to take into account Gail Brewer's, and we will do that, right? And the second one is maybe change the tone to be more questioning rather than pointing at problems. But I mean, these vendors has a lot of problem. This vendor operate 24 hours a day, which is totally illegal for a vendor. And I think we need to have the agencies do the job of figuring out whether there are, issues or not. I mean, we have the impression by reading the law that there are issues, but we need confirmation.
That's right. That's right.
And then finally, the fact that the vendors has been selling to, the staff of the hospital is, to me, not, a passport for not operating legally. So I think I would separate those two things. And that part I wouldn't necessarily take into account.
Absolutely. I think we're on the same page here. Just to clarify my intention, I wasn't saying that that should give them a pass to violate any regulations. We should definitely uphold the laws, especially if they got the summonses about parking at a limited parking zone. But what I'm proposing is, I haven't had an opportunity to provide comments, Christine, because I got the Word version like shortly before the meeting. So if we can maybe send it back to the committee, that would give me an opportunity to work with you and Jesse to update the letter. I'm happy to provide the draft.
I mean, I hope that the changes are not so dramatic that we have to send it back. Hopefully we are all talking about the same thing, and so I mean, you know, we can work after the meeting to improve the language, but I wouldn't want to change the essence of the letter. Yes.
Just in reply to Rachel's comment, which I definitely share that sentiment of someone comes and complains about a small business, I would want to hear the small business's perspective. However, in this case, this presentation, which is truly exceptionally detailed in terms of the level of evidence and documentation provided from maybe 10 different photos demonstrating different types of violations, at least 3 different violations over years. And like the board has limited investigative power. I would not say we, can or should try and do our own investigation. That should be up to the agencies. But sometimes, like when the evidence is like in front of your eyes, in terms of photographic evidence and documentation of multiple violations over years, I think it is fair to take a harsher tone. And I do think this is exceptional. Normally, I would want to hear from the small business owner, but I felt like it was an exceptionally well-documented series of complaints going back years.
And I think we want to maybe next month invite the vendor and say, okay, we have received all this concern. What are you saying about that? But considering what he's doing or what are the action, it seems to be pretty factual.
Yeah, no, I really appreciated the photos and everything. This was a really well drafted letter, prepared letter, especially again, the residents bringing forth all the facts. I think it's really the consistency part that I'm trying to strike, and I'm happy to work with you after the meeting on the updates. I think we're on the same page here. Basically, we're asking the agencies to conduct and find it, but at the same time, we are kind of dictating the outcome here a little bit, like kind of prejudging it. So I'm just want to make sure we are not.
We can change the tone of that. That's fine. And also the residents have been asking for this issue, talking about this issue for probably 5 years. So they are really, really frustrated and desperate to get some answer to that problem. Okay. Yes.
Thank you, Christine. Now we have, is Dolores, oh, there you are, Dolores, right, for Cannabis Task Force?
Yeah, finally I'm not last. That's great. Sorry that I'm presenting in a haze, but I don't have all the lights on here. You guys have already heard from a good number of the members of the public that spoke on letter 17. This is a new application. The letter is a deny. It was already mentioned by former Chair Lowell Kern that the vote was not unanimous. We did have one task force member that did not vote with the rest of the task force. But that a particular one, I'm just going to pause there in case there's questions on that. The other 2 are just renewals. Any questions?
Yes, you have one from Paul Devlin in the room.
Hello, Paul Devlin in the room.
Hi, Dolores Rubin in the haze. I'm feeling a little conflicted on this letter because we had a lengthy debate about distance from cannabis shops to public schools, parks, things like that. We had a 500-foot rule at OCM. This board has taken a position for a 1,000-foot rule. And now this letter has no reference to the distance to any of these spaces. So it's nearby and kids pass. This is Manhattan. It's nearby everything and kids pass everything. I feel like it's inconsistent for us to write a letter denying a business operator a license when it's not within the objective criteria we have established as a board at 1,000 feet. None of these places cited in this letter are within 1,000 feet of that proposed business. And I really struggle setting a precedent that anytime a group of neighbors complain about something, we don't follow our own objective criteria to establish guidelines. So I would like to see us strike the paragraph starting at lines 23 through line 29. The fact that the applicant didn't come, that's egregious. He should be part of the communications. But I would ask that we strike those paragraphs about the proximity to spaces that are outside of 1,000 feet, and there's no objective criteria that these dispensaries cause street partying that's going to conflict with galleries. And those two paragraphs I would ask to be struck.
Okay, so what those paragraphs were documenting were the concerns and the complaints that were raised by the public who showed up in good numbers, as we did have good numbers there. So it is accurate as per the conversation that happened at committee. If you feel that for consistency purposes, we should be documenting distances, I'm happy within the next few weeks to go ahead and actually have these distances measured and add those details so that it is consistent with previous letters.
I did Google map these distances. They're not within 1,000 feet. I wouldn't raise this issue if I hadn't done some research myself. So you can, if you find that those aren't within 1,000 feet, would you strike the paragraph? If you do the research and you find that's the case, would you strike that?
No.
Then I'm going
I
to.
am documenting the conversation that we had with the community, which is the purpose of the board is to represent the community's interests.
You are representing the vocal members of the
let's not
community
go
who
back.
spoke out. So I'm urging people to vote against this letter because it goes against the objective criteria that this board has established for guidelines on establishing dispensary centers. Thank you.
Thank you. Rodney?
Hi, I'd like to add my comment as a member of the Cannabis Task Force. The reason I voted against this applicant was because there was no outreach that we could find. I actually traveled to the site. I did not see a posting. And several of the neighbors also mentioned that they did not see a posting for outreach to the community.
Thank you, Rodney.
We have a hand online, up
Yeah,
online.
no, well, we have people in the room first, Dolores. Katie Stokes, is there a microphone nearby?
Okay, I think I'm on. I completely agree with what Paul said, and I would not be comfortable voting for this letter or for the inclusion of the language. I understand people raised it, but I think that we as a board should not be citing just that it's somewhere nearby or people pass by. But I really would like us to have a letter tonight that denies, because they didn't even bother, the applicant didn't even bother to show up and there was no community outreach. So I'll be honest with you, I've sort of forgotten what the process is, but could I move to amend the letter, which I know wouldn't be a friendly motion?
Okay, I'm going to save us all time because you don't have time in the space.
Okay.
The truth is that the objective is to listen to the community. And if the community wants to deny it and everybody's comfortable with just the fact that the applicant didn't bother to show up or communicate, we'll just put that in. So Paul, you're going to have exactly what you want. We get the main objective, which is to abide by what the community is looking for. Okay, we'll save some time. Let's not bother with another motion.
Okay, thanks.
Anyone else? Anyone on the other cannabis letters? No? Okay, great. Yep, we're going to exec. Greg, you're coming back up here. You'll make it very exciting, I'm sure.
Leslie, you teed this up earlier. This letter is specific to the brownfield cleanup application and draft remedial investigation work plan. I want to offer my sincere gratitude to Josephine, who's been an absolute champion in bringing up, pushing, advancing the conversation about the community board's responsibility and being responsive to the brownfield cleanup program application. The letter itself says two things. One, extend the public commenting period. And two, we expect to have a presentation from Essence Development related companies, et cetera. Start there.
Okay, I have a proposed amendment. I don't know if it's friendly or not, but I'll just put it out there.
This is a ratification, is that right? Sorry.
Just so we understand, when it says ratification, it means that the letter has been sent. So I just want, that doesn't make what you're about to say moot, but I just want us to understand that there was, due to a comment deadline by the agency DEC, which was the 23rd, we had to get the letter in. So I just want you to understand if that in any way helps you make your comment or your amendment or anything like that. We can certainly send an amended letter if it gets voted on, but I just want you to be that's why it's.
Okay, thank you for the caveat. I didn't realize it was a ratification, but my comment is, or my proposal is, just add something noting that we do not want this to be a cause of delay on the project. So I don't think it will be. Like, this is there are other factors delaying the start of construction beyond this. But if it were to be, I would want to have this process. It should occur. We should see these reports. We should do the analysis, all well and good. But given that this is kind of something that, as Leslie mentioned, would happen on, pretty much any project in Manhattan or in this area, if needed, we should do it in parallel with construction rather than letting this be another source of delay that causes sort of the repairs that are going to improve people's quality of life to be delayed and cause, more delay on building the much needed new housing.
I would suggest in response, that's not unreasonable. Also, if this goes through the brownfield cleanup process, it is going to be a long period of time where there's going to be additional engagement in what is happening on the ground. There's going to be another public comment period, et cetera. So to your point, I think our expectations here are not dramatic. And so I would suggest the reality is if they go through this process, it's going to take some time.
Okay, I'm not going to make a motion for amendment because we have to be out of here by 9:30, and there are other letters I think are also going to get a lot of discussion. But if this were not ratification, I would.
Got it. Thank you. Hector. Go that way and then I'll go that way. Going this way and that way. Oh, sorry, Jill.
Oh, yeah, I just wanted to clarify that the Related in Essence actually put the application in, so they understand the whole brownfield process. They know how long it takes. This is what they chose to do, so I don't want to make it seem like we're holding anything up because we're not. I mean, this is what they wanted to do. I'm handing it up to Hector.
Thanks, Josephine.
I'm just going to make this brief. As far as the ground contamination, as we know, if you go around the development, you'll see cracked sidewalks. We have steam coming up from the basement. So contamination is already in the air, and the most affected are the residents in those buildings. Okay. And basically, there is no monitoring going on right now or any kind of remediation for those. If the brownfield process initiates, basically what will happen is that we will have monitoring. There'll be close watches on all this stuff. So I don't see why there should be any kind of delays or anything like that. That's why I originally voted no on the letter, because it really just exaggerates the situation more than it really should. Okay. So that's why my opposition was entirely. And because of the school PS 33 and some of the other schools nearby, that even makes it even more important that these monitors be in place. So, and they are going to be. So I don't see a problem.
If this is accepted into the application process, there's going to be a whole set of expectations. I just want to note there are two parts to the letter. And one is extending the public comment period because we thought we might need more time to understand what was happening. DEC stepped in and talked to us a little bit about the process. And the second piece was the desire to have a presentation about it directed to the community board and the community.
Right.
So
Just real quick, my concern was the any kind of possible delays caused by the letter or anything else. Okay.
Thank you, Hector. Joe?
There's no delay by our action at all. We learned from DEC this week that is a 12 to 18 month period for their entire process for review before a shovel can be picked up. And it is yet again the case where Related went to the PS 33 parents and the PTA and noted just a month ago that there was no contamination in the soil on 26th Street, and they expected to start construction in June. We learned that, number one, the demolition, if that is approved, can proceed, but it's the disturbing of the ground that until DEC has the plan in place, agreed to by related, and also everyone should know the Brownfield Cleanup Program brings in serious money to this project through brownfield tax credits. So they're doing this also to bring financing in. It is a 12 to 18 month period, starting probably in June or later this year. We're not creating any delay. It's the normal part of the process. We just haven't been informed of that information until we got to DEC.
Thanks, Joe. I don't see any more questions or comments. Returning the mic to you.
I think it's, oh, Paul, you gonna take this one?
Yes, that's why I'm standing here. I'll take this one. Landmarks preservation letter. This originated from a Chelsea Land Use Committee meeting at which there was no quorum and no unanimous position. So it brought to executive committee, which then bounced it out to land use committee. So it went through Hell's Kitchen land use, then to Chelsea land use, and then back to executive committee. And that's where the letter's from today. This is originated as a request to the mayor to make sure to appoint a new chair of the LPC and commissioners that were committed to preservation and preservation activism and respecting the landmark process in our city. The conflict came into people who are saying this is going to hesitate housing growth and we need to be promoting housing. And so between that binary position of housing versus preservation, we navigated through to get this letter, which basically says appoint people that are respective of the preservation history of our and the need for that in our community, while also respecting the fact that we have a housing demand and that we are going to do this. And this letter balances the housing growth we've had here in our district, while also having a great deal of historic district sites and landmark sites. I did receive a bunch of edits from David Haloka, which will be incorporated, and Maria had asked that we footnote the source for the housing production, which we'll take from the City of Yes letter, which is where that came from, and insert that as well. Questions? Online, Jeffrey Gardner.
So just a real quick suggestion. I'd like to offer what I think is a friendly amendment. Lines 101 to 106, I would offer that paragraph, that short paragraph should be struck because in my mind, the two areas that you're focusing on is maintaining affordability with new housing and identifying and preserving landmarks. And how do we strike that balance? And when I think about affordable housing, I don't think about, tourism and inviting hotels. So I think it's just a little bit of a counterpoint to what I view as a major focus of the letter on affordability and housing.
Jeffrey, I appreciate that perspective that it's about housing. I think what we're trying to get across in this point, in this paragraph specifically, and there was originally in the letter a reference to a site in Brooklyn, and we instead found a site that was closer to us and part of our Garment Center district. So the development that happened there was an example of how preservation and development can work in partnership to have successful growth. And we want to make sure to emphasize that preservation doesn't block growth and that we allow that to happen. And the references we make earlier to the MSMX rezoning, where we had a variety of sites that we had requested be landmarked, and LPC essentially said to us, we don't have the resources to landmark that many sites. So the notion of this paragraph is to help reinforce the need for continued funding and increased funding for LPC, and to show that preservation and new development can work hand in hand. So I'm not going to accept that as a friendly amendment, and Greg is standing next to me and he's saying the same. There.
I was just going to suggest that maybe we spell that out then as an introduction to that paragraph, that last sentence that you just said, like as an example of how this can coexist. Here is one, whatever you.
Yeah.
That better than I just did.
We'll insert a transition sentence. Yes, thank you.
I just have a quick question. Is this the first letter that we are sending to the new mayor of all, in all of CB4?
No,
Other ones? Okay.
no, there are others.
Okay.
All right.
And
Uh,
and just one other question, Paul. Is it just back to what I was the one that suggested removing the Brooklyn piece during the committee meeting. Is there anything else in the district that we can mention that's like actually we've done in CB4?
We couldn't think of one, but if you find one in the next 2 hours, I'll be happy to insert it. Because we're going to move on to open dining. That might take more time. Thanks, everybody.
I know most of you, like me, probably feel like we've been discussing revisions to outdoor dining for months, and that's because we have. A brief summary, we started back at the November full board meeting. There was a city council bill to change the rules for outdoor dining, including making roadway dining roadway dining year round. At the November meeting, we voted to submit our recommendation of approval to the 24-hour roadway dining. That city council bill did not pass last year. About a month ago, a new bill was introduced in the city council this year, also seeking to amend roadway dining. One of its provisions, again, was to make roadway dining year-round, and it contained other proposed changes. We had hoped to take this to BLP next week, but the city council then scheduled their hearing on this bill yesterday. The hearing did happen. That forced us to take the issue to exec committee a week and a half ago, where we had extensive debate. The original proposed letter at exec would have incorporated our November letter about the approval of year-round roadway dining, but otherwise opposed the new changes. After much discussion, the letter that got approved is the one you see in the Dropbox, which basically says, we don't think you should be making any changes to any of the outdoor dining so quickly, because the program has only been in effect for a limited time. So it was premature to make changes. So that's the letter that is up for discussion. I should add that since that executive committee vote, the board office has received a couple of letters in support of year-round roadway dining from local businesses. In addition, there was a petition with 197 signatures in support of year-round roadway dining. Those signatures came from local businesses, employees of local businesses, and local residents. Yes, it is for ratification. Yeah. Okay.
Hello. Okay. Hi, everybody. I just wanted to talk on this for a minute because as a business owner in the community, this is probably one of the reasons why I joined the board, so we can have a voice. You know, a lot of this outreach was not done to local business owners at all. And I went and I made sure that I did the most outreach as I could. I wanted to talk about some of the issues that some of the people were concerned about with the roadway dining. They're saying only after a year's time that we shouldn't be making any changes, but the reality is we've had roadway dining for 6 years, and we have had many community input on making these changes to do the permits. And people are saying, oh, this is successful. Guess what? This is not successful. If this was successful, the city wouldn't be coming to, you know, the consideration to make it year round. You know, it would be successful if more participants were there, but we went from 13,000 outdoor dining units to only 2,500. And so this has been really a pinch to the businesses because there's so many small mom and pop shops that can't afford to take down and rebuild their structures every year. I did the calculations and I reached out and I spoke with pretty much like 10 business owners in Hell's Kitchen. It's $15,000 a year for the construction fees alone. We're not just paying a permit, we're also paying a check to the commissioner. We're also paying an agreement for this, I'm telling you, like, I just got hit with this yesterday. I thought it was gonna be just a one-time fee. Every year I have to pay $5,000 fee on top of the permit, for an agreement fee with the city that I'm gonna abide by what they ask. So I'm asking you guys, like, I had some people ask me like, oh, how much more money can you make in January? It's not about how much money that I can make, because that's gonna be depending on the weather. It's saving $15,000. And it's not about businesses that already have outdoor dining. It's giving the opportunity for small businesses that could never even apply knowing how much it was gonna cost. The question is, in a time where we're always pushing for affordability, and we're talking about helping our local neighbors and our restaurant owners and people that we used to consider frontline workers during COVID, what more opportunity can we have for the small business owners to be able to participate in this and be able to hire more people or give our employees more hours to help with the ongoing costs of rent, the utilities, and everything else? So this opportunity that we have as a board will make it, more viable for small business owners that never had a seat at the table to begin with. And so, I just wanted to tell you guys, like, the costs, the year-round dining program is, it's being tweaked because there's just not enough people that are applying. And I hope that we take that in consideration. I mean, there are some concerns. I'm not sure if we're not having year-round dining, if it's gonna solve the problem of oversight. I'm imagining if the city gets more money and more permits come through, that'll happen. But I don't think denying a year-round program is going to change the oversight from happening or not. And some of the comments that were made earlier from the public, it was very clear that they really don't have a grasp of what the dining structures are. They said sheds. Sheds imply a roof. That doesn't happen. Homeless people are not going to be sleeping outside without a roof. And someone made a comment about how are we going to clean underneath. Right now, the structures, you have to be able to remove the floor. So if these people actually did their homework and read some of the stipulations on what it took to build, they'd realize some of those concerns are not really valid. They're just kind of the stigma or fear of what they are resilient from COVID or remembering from COVID. So I'm hoping the board will vote in favor of the year round. There's some of the things, obviously, I think that will make the community feel more comfortable. I do agree, maybe we should not agree with some of the other stores, grocery stores, bodegas having it because they just don't have the experience and trust. And I think just asking to give that a little bit to the business owners to have year round with denying the rest of it would be beneficial for the community. And I would just hope that we guys remember that the Block Association are great. Usually they're more naysayers than they're going to say anything positive. They're probably going to be not in the middle. And we have to remember the community is not just the people that go to the block associations. There are people that are working right now that can attend these meetings. There are people that are workers in the industry and people that, frankly, just, they don't have the passion to come to these meetings and sit for hours, but they are still a part of a community. And I just hope that when we vote on these type of things, we take the community as a whole into consideration and not just the block associations. And that's what I would like to say. So does anybody want to make a change or motion for the letter?
Well, let's hear from other people. Joe?
So a lot of our job is balance. And you and I talked during the last meeting about how to make something work. Where can you hit a middle ground? If a small owner can't afford this, do we go to the city and say, is there a subsidy or is there assistance for small owners? Is there a place to find storage, whatever it is, right, to make it work? I want to say, Ted, that no, this is not a 6-year program. This is a 1-year program so far, because that's when it got codified. And there was a huge agreement and like a compromise for the 9 months, right? That's what happened. Now, I actually think it's not bad to have roadway dining at all, but not every single business is a small, struggling business. Not everyone was there during COVID, right? This is something that was established and thrown together because we had to do it for a reason, for the epidemic. And now we're trying to figure out how to make it work, right? It's clear that the past bill was Adams truly getting lobbied by the hospitality lobby. Okay, I understand that. But we're here today. How do we make it work, right? Our board, like many other boards in Manhattan that have a high density of restaurants, really have a question, how does this work well? And honestly, I think we stick with our position, but we continue to do what we talked about. How do we assist these smaller businesses deal with the cost that they just can't carry, right? You may be able to do it, but this guy from Stash, whatever, is not going to be able to do it. So there's got to be a balance, but to say that our block associations and our neighbors and people who are organized and do take the time to come out and talk to us really are not representative. Some are, some aren't, but the broad sense we've gotten over the past number of meetings is that there is not community sentiment to say this should be 12 months a year. And that's real. And it is a balance between the business owners and the residential folks. And I agree with you. Yes, people say sheds. What I will say to you flat out, if it's an outdoor platform, someone will inhabit that and hang out during the winter. Because I see this up and down 9th Avenue in niches and places all the time. So I don't think it's so black and white as you made it. I think it's somewhere between. And I say that if we amend our letter at all, we say, let's figure out a way to assist these smaller business owners to figure out how to make this program work for them. And we have a new mayor that may want to do that. That's all.
Okay. Katie? But, oh, yes, just looking at the clock.
I just want to
Be
quickly
as
note,
tight as you can.
I did watch the Transportation Committee meeting at City Council. And when DOT was speaking about this, they talked about snow. We had 2 large snow events this year, and they said in the event there was heavy snow forecasted, that the business owners would have to remove their sheds in the winter. So I think we just, we had this first year, we realized snow is an issue. So now we need to reevaluate and see what happens. I think that it's just too soon to jump into making changes when there's still so much stuff that needs to be worked out. And again, this is public space. No one is entitled to take over public space for private usage. Maybe I need space for a home office. Can I build a home office on the curb? Can I build a storage shed on the curb? I think we just really need to evaluate it. And I understand the plight of small businesses. In my professional career, I do speak to small businesses, and there are multiple things that are causing them to have struggles. And it's not just outdoor dining that will be the end all, save all.
Okay, thanks. Inga, and please be as concise as you can.
Yeah. So I, like Katie, watched and stayed on for 6 hours yesterday. One of the additional things that the Department of Transportation said was that the stipulations that we typically do, for example, for BLP, when we meet with a business owner, they are incorporated into the license. They will not entertain any comments or stipulations from the community board. The Department of Transportation doesn't care what the community board said. That's what they said. And also taking the sheds down during snowstorms. These are all things we need to figure out. Our letter mentions 20 plus block associations. Chelsea Council of Block Association is 19 alone. I know the Hell's Kitchen Alliance is more than that. So that's 40 plus block associations between Chelsea and Hell's Kitchen. And also the meeting yesterday went 6 hours plus, and the majority of people were against it.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thanks. Christine?
So when we are saying let's keep with our position, well, our first position was in November, and we were supporting the 12 months support. So if we want to stick with that, that's what we do. And by the way, 66% of the people in the room had voted for that. But let me try to clarify something. Inga, I think they were not totally accurate. The problem is not the roadway cafe. The problem we have generally is the sidewalk cafe. And in a lot of testimony I'm hearing, you know, sidewalk cafe, roadway cafe, etc. The real subject of the law is the roadway cafe, but the sidewalk cafe is the issue. A sidewalk cafe can't stay out there for 12 months. And the sidewalk cafe is very invasive to us pedestrians. So, you know, I don't understand the difference between the two. And let's be clear, there is a direct connection between the request in one of the laws of the intros to reduce the space of pedestrian to 8 feet instead of the 12 or 10 feet we have now, and the approval of the extension of the time, because this is about getting more space, more time. And the industry testified that they absolutely wanted the 8 foot to be going back to the 8 foot. And obviously this is a trade-off. You know, you go back to you don't have the 12 months, you have to go back to the 12 foot. So the guys are recovering the amount of space they need on the sidewalk to make more money. So we need to be very, very conscious that those two things are linked. And if we want to keep more space on the sidewalk, giving up some time on the roadway is a very important component of that. And I have even talked to elected officials and who said, yeah, oh yeah, if we give them more space on the side, more time on the roadway, well, then we can definitely keep the space on the sidewalk. Second thing is that we heard.
Yeah.
We heard.
Minutes for the room.
Yeah, well, you know, it's important. We heard loud and clear all the residential block association concern, very loud, very clear. And there are issues with enforcement. I agree that enforcement has to be better, but there are 40% more 311 complaints related to sidewalk than to roadway cafe. Roadway cafe is not an issue. There were 120 calls or 311 complaints, or 50%, which were related to insufficient pedestrian space on sidewalk cafe. So that is the issue. And the new program is very different from the COVID era free-for-all program. In 2025, there was only one complaint about cleanliness, one in 25. Okay, so again, when do you get an opportunity to make to help the small business? We don't, except this one. I am proposing that we substitute a resolution to this one, which would be based on the letter that we passed in November with a large majority, and that the letter on the record includes oppose the reduction of clear paths to 8 feet, support the season extension to 12 months, request strong enforcement. All that stuff was in our letter. And we would add and explain the following item: oppose the food stores and bodegas having sidewalk cafe, oppose the extension of all cafes in front of adjacent properties, oppose opening roadway cafe before 10 o'clock, which is something which is proposed and we are not discussing at all, and support streamlining of the application process. So my proposal is a substitute resolution, and I'm looking for a second.
I second.
Okay.
That'd be me, Carrie, online.
Yeah. Carrie?
Well, I was going to speak, but I will just second Christine's proposal or amendment or new letter, or I'm not quite sure what we're calling it.
Okay, thanks. Inga?
Christine called. I don't know what's happening.
Okay, Christine said that I was incorrect. I'm not quite sure what I was incorrect on, but she took 20 minutes and she did call me out on that. So you want me not to reply? Yeah.
A minute.
No, you are not correct. I'm correct.
Sorry, we can't hear you in the room.
Yeah, I am correct. And the reason there are less roadway complaints is because there are less roadway structures.
Amendment to the motion.
Can whoever's speaking please use the mic?
Hi, we're trying to figure out order of speech. Thank you.
Thank you.
So I would like to make an amendment to the motion because my biggest concern this evening on several of these items is fairness and process. I think making sure that the stakeholders all had the proper notice and opportunity, I should say, to come to the table. And what I heard earlier is that we did not conduct the outreach. Ted, kudos to you for doing the outreach.
Wait, sorry.
We asked the
sorry,
applicants
Rachel,
to.
Sorry to interrupt. We did the usual notice of every community board meeting. It's sent out to the community board mailing list. The agenda is posted on the website. We did not go specifically to small businesses because we almost never go to specific interest
Right,
groups. But the notice was for all of these debates has been completely in light of our usual procedures and timeframes.
Right. I think in this case, since we're talking about small business owners, what we have to be mindful is something I said earlier, which is the timing of the hearings or public opportunities, I think coincides with what are prime business hours. So I just want to make sure that we are holding ourselves accountable to the same standard in terms of community outreach, which we ask applicants to do. With respect to the letter, I think what Joe said earlier about striking the right balance, right? We are a board of providing solutions, proposing solutions. How do we make this work? That's what Joe said, right? I agree with that. So I think to Christine's proposal of drafting a supplemental letter, it will be helpful to maybe note some ideas that many of our public members earlier shared, kind of like chairs and tables instead of sheds and things like that. And with Ted's and other business owners' input, I'm sure that can be built on. So it would be helpful to also propose some ideas to help defray the cost for some of the small business owners. I think I'm trying to help bridge the gap in many of the concerns I'm hearing here today.
Can I get clarity, Christine? Rachel just called it a supplemental letter. Was your motion to basically you're not doing a new business letter. You're looking to return the ratified letter that we had sent already and replace it with your existing letter.
Supplemented by a number of things.
Yeah, okay, so we're not discussing, I just want to be clarity for everybody else. The letter we're discussing right now has been sent. Christine's motion is yes, it's another letter, but we're reversing the letter that we have already sent. We're gonna send a new letter. That's what I want to understand, making sure everybody understands.
I just want to say one thing, guys. This is a deeply divided, we don't have to come out with a position necessarily. Like, we don't have to say all yes, when there are things that we all can agree on, and there are things we can say in a letter. We have talked about this, we have done outreach, we have not come to whatever you want to say. But the back and forth, there are things that we, as Christine pointed out, that are important, like the sidewalks and all that, I think we can all come to an agreement. I'm not saying everyone has to come to agreement, but the back and forth of this letter, and then the next letter is going to reject that letter, and then the next letter is going to reject that letter is not viable. It's not a viable board.
Leslie, sorry.
We had two committees over the course of years discussing these points, and I feel like, sorry, it's just hard to be recognized sometimes, but we brought forth a letter, and then somehow that letter was changed in exec, and I think that's what Christine is asking, that we revert back to the letter that the BLP and transportation
So
worked
just to
really
give-
hard to formulate.
Carrie, I'm sorry, just to give some background, the reason why that letter and Christine-
Understood, totally
Hold on,
understood.
Hold on 1 second, just
Yeah.
hold on 1 second. So there was a letter out of BLP that was new business. And I think some people in the community came to the office and said, hey, this was new business. It was not listed as an agenda item. We did not know. And Christine and Wendy and Frank understood that. So instead of putting it back on as an agenda item, Christine had a great suggestion of let's put it as a public hearing item or a public hearing item, and let's see the response we get. If there is not really a response, we're just going to go with what we have. If there is a response, then we have to rethink because those people did not have the original chance because it was a, you know what I mean? It was a new agenda item. It was not listed. So anyway.
Sorry, that's not quite right. The BLP, respectfully, the BLP meeting, it was added on as new business. However, when the BLP letter went to the full board in November, that was properly noticed. It was on the agenda explicitly. There was a draft letter in the Dropbox and everything. So that the vote on the full board in November was noticed in accordance with our regular procedures. Sorry.
No, you're good. No, I'm glad you did.
I want to make a motion to. I am
Sorry,
making
we have a motion on the floor. Do we not? Or I know
have a
this is
motion on the
procedurally
floor,
complicated.
And my
I'm
motion
sorry.
is to refer the whole matter back to committee, which takes precedence over anything on the floor.
Yes, I am.
Both. I can refer back to committee, refer back to BLP.
I want to discuss this motion. I wouldn't mind, except this process is moving really, really fast. We have a lot of elected who want to pass this regulation immediately. And as usual, we are going to miss the boat, so that's it.
It's which
I
vote
would
we missed.
I would rather not table it.
Get clarity here. The letter has been, we have already sent a letter. So we have sent 2 letters. So if we want to take this.
I'm sorry to do this to Frank, but I'm referring it back to committee to come up with a compromise to update the letters we've sent, which one is in favor and one is against.
Okay, so just to get clarity, Joe, we can refer it back to committee, meaning that we're going to put this topic on a committee schedule, but the letter has been sent. So what is the action on the letter? Nothing?
We sent it, but we're not going to ratify it tonight. We sent that back to committee. And Christine's motion also gets sent back to come up with some middle ground that lays it all out together. No, I'm referring back to.
He's referring back. That's the
different motion.
Yeah, Joe, so does that mean we are writing, if your motion passes, we would write to the city council to say our letter of last week was not ratified and we're withdrawing it?
That's all it says.
Okay.
Can someone just talk quickly about the timing though? To Christine's point, like the reason you did this at exec, wasn't it because of, a timeline that we had to meet? So how do we not have a letter for another month?
And we did, and we can't get consensus.
But we could vote on Christine's letter.
Vote on the motion to table, and then we have to, and if that fails, we have to.
It's not table, it's referring it back to committee.
Bring back to committee, not tabling.
Or Christine made a motion for a letter and I seconded it. So can we vote on that?
Christine is not on mic, Carrie, I'm sorry. She is deferring to the motion to, tell me if I'm wrong, Christine. You're deferring to the motion to refer back to committee first.
Yes.
And then
And we should vote on that.
Okay, we have a motion. Did someone second Joe's motion? All right, 2 seconds, that's great. All right. Does everybody understand what they're voting on? Any questions on the motion made? Katie, do you have a question, Inga? Okay, Katie. Yep. I'll repeat the question, or, okay.
So, okay, I'm just clarifying. So we're about to vote to send a one-line letter to the city council saying that
Yeah,
the
yes.
letter was not ratified, and two, to send the entire issue back to committee. So it's a
Yes.
it's a twofer.
Yes.
Okay.
Is someone saying no? He's making the motion that's
I'm
the
making-
planting voting on the ratification. That yes, we're sending a letter to the council saying that the letter that we had sent, the testimony that we had sent, was not ratified by full board. Basically saying that they need to ignore it until we come back with
I think we can agree to that.
yes.
No, because we haven't achieved consensus in the room, we're gonna punt it back and see what happens. And let city council know. It's pretty clear we don't.
Jesse, well, right now, we're gonna have consensus. If we're all not gonna vote for this motion, we're gonna vote for Christine's motion. If we don't vote for Christine's motion, that doesn't get approved. We have to vote on the ratification.
Jesse, a
So then
procedural
Bingo,
matter?
yes, Kevin.
I call the question.
Sure. Thank you. All right, everybody, any other questions on this motion? Okay, all in favor of the motion?
To refer,
Twofold, to refer back to committee and to write to city council acknowledging that we did not ratify the letter. So hands up for in favor of that motion, please. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37. 37 yeses. Noes, opposing the motion. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Abstentions. P&Es. We can't, we're not dictating people's P&Es. Okay, so that's 37 yeas, 8 noes, no abstentions, and no P&Es. So the motion passes. So that's what we're doing. Yes, Paul.
Just a real quick procedural question for the vote
Hold on one
sheet.
second, Jeffrey. We just have a question in the room. We'll go to you right next. I'm sorry? Yeah. Jeffrey, go ahead.
Sure. Just a really quick question, like a procedural question on the vote sheet. Since the vote was to send it back to committee, should we be recording sent back to committee, or would you like us to record yes in the affirmative, no,
No,
etc.?
vote back to committee. Okay.
Thank you, guys.
We are past 9:30, so, and we seem to still be online, which is very nice, but I cannot guarantee that. So for folks online, you might cut out at any moment. My computer is still online, obviously, that's Jesse Bodine, so we'll have to figure out a way of figuring the vote out and everything else for final votes, but just be prepared. And we really need to get out of here.
We still have a few letters, new business, and the reason why these are new business, as Jesse said, is because quorum was not achieved at these committees, I believe, right, Jesse? HHHS, WPE. So who's coming up for Oh, Joe, go ahead.
yeah. First one is Hudson Hotel. That's a cure for harassment at 353 West 57th Street. We've made great progress in working with the mortgagee on it. Tenants and the mortgagee came to a meeting and really evidenced that. So we're really moving that ahead to get the affordable housing and the building solved. The second one, Kevin, can you speak to that?
For the sake of time, the second one, Bellevue Hospital is a public hospital. It does good work. The federal law cuts into the Medicaid that it receives. It needs support from the New York State and New York City budgets. The letter explains the supports it needs and gives MCB for support. Thank you.
The next one is on Chelsea Nycha, and it's merely writing to the mayor saying, we've been trying to work together on this for a number of years. here are all the things we've done.
I was
Absorb-
gonna mention it, but you've done it faster.
go ahead.
You can do it faster,
Oh,
actually.
yeah, and please meet with us and let's talk about it and move this thing ahead one way or the other.
Yeah, I'd like to make a friendly amendment on this one. Paragraph 4 lists elected officials who we are asking the new administration to coordinate with. I would like to add to that list City Council member Chris Banks, who chairs the City Council's Committee on Public Housing.
I didn't know they were.
Just two quick questions. On the first page, we say that, hold on, finding it right now, line 22 and 23, that we don't agree with cross-stakeholder engagement. I actually think we do. I think that's just a miswording thing. So, yeah. So if we can just figure that out. But then I just wanted clarification because it's a little unclear on the front. Maybe it's better at the end. But are we saying that we don't want the city meeting with the tenants without without us and all of these electeds? Is that what we're saying?
No, what's happened a little bit is that like the deputy mayor herself went to meet with a senior citizen. That's a true imbalance of power. So it's worked through the whole process that's been set up in the community, the various organizations. So we want to fix that up. Got it. Maria? Inga? Oh, shit.
You can stay right here.
So we had a resident or a tenant who spoke on this and wanted some language added. Did you note that or? Okay, did anybody hear it? He spoke, right? Is that friendly amendment language?
So yeah, Lunky, you saw the email, right? Okay, so my thinking was he wanted to add it to the first paragraph in this letter. And I think, although it's valid, there's good points. I think that it's not appropriate for this letter. Yeah. Who's next with the mic?
Oh, another one. Sanford, sorry.
All right, I'll try and be quick. I'm gonna vote against this letter, not because I disagree with us being included in the meetings. That makes perfect sense. But because it is re-invoking the letter from November, which I continue to disagree with.
Thank you for your disagreement.
And I think if you voted against that letter, you should also vote against this letter.
Thank
I
you
would
for
say
your
more, but I'm gonna try and save time, so I will not elaborate.
Thank you for your proposing other people vote against it too. Okay, do we have anything? Maria, do you want to do the next one? Maria, on the set,
Hello, 25?
26.
What is 26?
Okay, I'll
You do it.
I'll do it very quickly. So tenants came to us from this building on West 35th Street and 10th Avenue, owned by the related companies. Shocking, says Lydia. And in fact, they are not having equal access to the amenities of the building and instead are being charged more than the market rate tenants to use the amenities. So we've laid this out and made the issues and asked related to come and talk to us about it because they did represent that the amenities would be accessible and free to all the tenants, affordable or market.
Good. Okay, WPE, Katie or Marty, which one? Oh, Katie's got it.
Okay,
Thank
so
you,
the
Maria.
first letter, sorry, is the scaffolding first or the? So it's
First one is the DeWitt Clinton Park.
DeWitt Clinton Park, partial renovation. Parks came, presented their plan. We had a few comments. Other than that, we liked it. It's still moving forward. Erin?
I did have a quick question on this. I watched the meeting and I really appreciated you advocating for the shorter basketball hoop at the playground. But that conversation was shut down when they asked if anybody is actually asking for that. And I just wanted to represent that I'm in that park regularly with elementary age and middle school kids who cannot reach the higher ones. And so, yes, people are asking for it. And if you could specify that in the letter where you ask for the cross-court hoop, that would be
We can check with Parks, but it sounded like Parks said that the lower hoops are not something that they do, but we can throw it in there and see what they say.
okay. It sounds like they just did it though at another park. So I think they probably
Okay.
could. Okay.
We can add it in.
Thank you.
The other letter is about scaffolding collapse at Ramona Ponte Playground. There's a building that had some illegal demolition. They're in the process of rebuilding it. During that, scaffolding that is along the side of the park collapsed. This is a letter just, to the building owner, wanting him to keep us updated on what's happening. This is an ongoing conversation. Things have changed. They're coming back to our next meeting, and we'll just continue discussing it. But we did have parents come who talked about how, a lot of children's play there, and it was a tragedy, all of that. Questions? All right.
Great. Thank you, WPE. Okay, we're ready for a roll call. Kevin?
Jesse, can you correct me if I'm right? Items 13 and 22 have been referred back to committee? If you'd be kind enough to just.
Yes.
Okay, thank you, Jesse. Going to announce your name and please say how you vote. Ted
Sorry,
Arenas.
Kevin, was that yes? Yes? The
Jesse
answer?
confirmed, yes. Items
Okay,
13
thank you.
and 22
Thank
have
you.
been referred back to committee. Thank you. Ted Arenas. Ted Arenas, no to 17, no to 25, yes to the rest. Thank you, Ted. Roberta Barnett. Not here. Christine Berthet. Just simply yes to all. Okay, thank you. Liam Buckley.
No on 20 and 21, yes to the rest.
Liam, no on 20 and 21, yes to the rest. Thank you. Jessica Chait. Jessica Chait, yes to all. I'm just going off the sheet. My friend, just give me 1 second. Okay, Varen, what do you got? I'm sorry, no to 17? Yes to the rest. Okay, thank you, Varen. Oh, this is the third time your name's being missed. Sorry about that. We'll coordinate with the office. Thank you very much. Lisa David. Not here. Okay.
Yes to all.
Yes to all.
Submitted.
Yes, Lisa David, yes to all. Thank you. Martin Ducat. Martin, yes to all. Thank you. Paul Devlin. Paul Devlin, yes to all. Thank you. Pete Diaz. Yes to all. Pete Diaz. Thank you. Jeffrey Gardner. Jeffrey Gardner.
Yes to all, submitted.
Yes to all. Jeffrey Gardner. Thank you. Thomas Garza. Thomas, no to 25. Yes to the rest. Thank you. Wendy Gonzalez. Not here. Max Goodstein. Okay, my friend. P&E on 10, 27, 28. Yes to the rest. Thank you. Thank you, Max. Matt Green.
Abstain on 21 and 25, yes to the rest.
Matt abstain on 21, 25. Yes to the rest. Thank you. Jesse Greenwald. Not here. I flipped the page. Candace Hewitt. She's not on the board, but she's on the sheet. Don't worry about that. Okay. Erin Hoffman. Yes to all submitted. Thank you. David Haloka. Yes to all. Thank you. Frank Holobuk. Thank you, Frank. Yes to all. Josephine Ishman. Yes to all. Thank you, Josephine. Inga, yes to all. Thank you. Carrie Keenan.
No on 11, yes to the rest.
No on 11. Yes to the rest. Thank you, Carrie. Ella Kim. Yes to all. Thank you, Ella. Matthew Klein. Yes to all for Matthew. Thank you. Christopher LeBron. Not here. Rachel Lee. Yes to all. Rachel. Thank you. James McDonald. Yes to all for James. Thank you. Ellen Markman. Ellen Ellen, can you unmute, please? Ellen, we can't hear you.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, we can.
Okay, no on 11, 17, 20, 25. Yes to the rest.
In 1 second. No on 11, 17, 20, and 25. Yes, the rest for Ellen.
You got it.
Thank you, Ellen. Brendan McGrath. P&E for Brendan on 17, 18, 19, and? So for Brendan, 17, 18, 19 P&E, no on 25, yes to the rest. Thank you. Sanford Miller. Sanford, no on 17, 21, and 25, yes to the rest. Thank you, Sanford. Shanice Mitchell.
Yes to all.
Yes to all for Shanice. Thank you. Charles Montero Archer. Charles, no to 17, yes to the rest. Thank you. Charles Gregory Morris. Greg, no on 11, yes to the rest. Thank you. Tina Nelson. Tina, yes to all. Thank you. Michael Noble.
No to 11, no to 25, yes to the rest.
Michael, no to 11, no to 25, yes to the rest. Thank you. JD Nolan. JD is yes to all. Thank you. Maria Ortiz. Maria is yes to all. Thank you. Alan Oster. Alan's yes to all. Thank you. Brad Pascarella. Brad not here. Moving on. Turning the page. Joe Restuccia. Joe is yes to all. Thank you. Dolores Rubin.
Yes to all.
Dolores is yes to all. Thank you. Katie Savage. Katie is yes to all. Thank you. Brian Sloan. Brian is no to 11, 17, 21, 25, and yes to the rest. Katie Stokes. Katie Stokes is yes to all. Thank you. Hector Vasquez. Hector is no to 11, no to 20, no to 25, and yes to the rest. Thank you, Hector. David Warren.
Yay to all.
David is yes to all. Thank you. Rodney Washington. Rodney's yes to all. Thank you. Alice Wong. Alice is no to 18 and 19, P&E on 21 and 25, yes to the rest. Before I get to myself and Leslie, is there anybody who I didn't call? I'm yes to all. And Leslie. Leslie abstains from 18 and 19 and yes to the rest. I'll give it back the microphone to Leslie.
May I get a motion to adjourn, please? Thanks. Second.